Hello, everybody, and welcome as we're getting ready to go here for Stage 2, Week 2, Day 1, other names and labels and things of that nature. It's the boys! I've got the biggest brains and challengers with me here today. First time we've been on the main channel here for Elite. I'm iHoldShift to be kind of hosting you through the day. But with that, I also have got Visions and Infinity with me. Visions, good to see you. You're looking wonderful in that shade of blue today.
Hey, thank you very much, Alan. I'm pumped, man. We got a lot of great matches ahead of ourselves. We're coming in towards Week 2, Stage 2, so there's a lot of implications that can kind of play out here for us today. And, well, you're looking good over there as well. You know, you got the white on. We're vibing out. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day, Alan.
Very clean. Even got this from the dry cleaner. Didn't even just throw it in the washer. No, we went all the way. We went to a local business to get it dry cleaned. And then over in the UK, we've got Brody Infinity with us. My friend, it's good to see you. It's still evening for you, so I'm sure we're feeling full of energy for this opening set of matches.
Yeah, it is still evening over here, so it's pretty early on. I'm feeling pretty good, though, as we do get into week number 2. My hair's getting longer, I will say that much. We're still in lockdown over here in the UK, so if anybody who does have access to their barbers at the moment, tell them how much you love them, because at the moment I'm absolutely missing them how much as you.
We're going to have a fun day labeled out for you, because there's a lot that we need to go through. Looking first and foremost at the standings here in Europe that we'll be dealing with. It's been a bit strange, boys. I mean, we've got Passion up top at 4-0, the only flawless squad, but then a long list of teams at 1-3 near the bottom, all of which desperately need to find some wins if they want to exit away from being relegated, at least initially, and have a chance at making that knockout bracket. Infinity, I mean, where do you kind of tilt your head first when it comes to this list of 8 squads?
Immediately, I mean, it shoots right up to the top. I mean, Passion, 4-0 start for them. It definitely echoes what we saw from August, if you remember them, from stage number 1, where they came out with that roster change and immediately just shot up. Flawless start after week number 1, and this is much of the same. Of course, you know, the discussion that we were having coming into stage number 2 was we have August and we have Rams, the 2 best teams here in Europe, and now Passion, they've certainly thrown their hat into the ring for that. 4-0 start for them. They look like a very scary squad at the moment.
And I mean, you keep looking down this list, and you got 3 teams here, currently 1-3, right? This is the biggest factor, I think, coming in towards this week number 2 for us, where there's going to be a good amount of matches played out, and you have to find yourself a win against these top teams. If you're 67K, Elite 2, and Train Hard, all currently tied at 1-3, just a bit of a difference maybe for the map count separating that spot between 6th and 5th, but still, there is so much on the line, and you have to look at some of these teams that have looked to prep in towards some of these tougher squads, but if they don't find a win against some of these stronger squads that are looking to run over some of these teams in EU, then we're going to see maybe some of these guys actually fall down. So I think this is really what week 2 is going to be about for as far as those 3 squads that we just labeled, to see if they are going to be able to step up.
And for a lot of those 1-3 squads, their one win came at the hand of another 1-3 squad. A lot of them still actually have to play up against some of the top teams overall. That brings us to our schedule, though, as far as what we'll be watching here in the mainstream today. Starting things off, we'll be taking a look at Team Passion, as we mentioned up top, going up against one of those 1-3 squads in the form of Team Moon. Then coming up immediately after that, we'll be watching 67K, another one of those 1-3 squads. They're going up against the Giant in Los Galacticos, which is the former Rams squad, no longer the organization participating in Call of Duty, but that team is still together. And then coming up later this evening, we'll be jumping over to North America. We'll be taking a look at Fantastic Four versus Hire and Aerial Arise versus Subliners Academy. We'll talk more about those when we come back later on. But with this first and opening matchup that we have for this schedule, I mean, boys, what are we thinking about? Infinity, that Passion Team Moon game, again, a lot on the line for both these squads.
Yeah, I think, you know, coming into this week, this is 2 very different teams, right? Obviously, you know, talking about the positions they're at in the table, 4-0 for Passion, 1-3 for Team Moon. So they're aiming for things at the moment. For Passion, it is a case of trying to keep that flawless record and really secure the playoff spot so they don't have to bother with the knockout bracket. For Team Moon, it's a matter of survival, and honestly, I think this is actually going to be a really interesting matchup. Of course, we'll talk about it in depth a little bit more in just a moment, but, you know, just to give you guys a little teaser here, we actually did just see these 2 teams face off against each other lower finals of the Challengers Cup number 9 here in Europe, and it went all the way to game 5 between those 2 squads. So Team Moon, they could most certainly bring it against this Passion squad.
Second matchup, Vision still a lot on the line there as well.
That's right. The second matchup coming through here for us. I mean, that's a big one for 67K. I mean, they have their hands full, to say the least. We've seen what Rams have done previously. Now, Los Galacticos, for as far as this is a squad that's actually stuck together since the beginning, right? They were under that Rams organization for a very long time. They won stage 1. They started winning a lot of those initial cups as well, around about 4 and 5. So these guys have figured out the game. I think that they're the most consistent team. And if you could take down a squad like this, I mean, think of what that does to your confidence here for 67K, especially with some of the young guns when we talk about Nile and Nuke J, right? Where these guys are very, very talented individuals, have the ability to be able to carry, but do they have the consistency to go head to head, through multiple maps against a team that has been so good and just is also known for always coming back in towards the game, right? So there's a lot of takeaways here for them. And if they could find a win, then I mean, it would just propel them on the standings as well as maybe boost them up going into the future week and the rest of the games.
Yeah. Our narratives going into both these matches are largely going to be from the team that is 1-3. But looking into this first matchup specifically for Team Moon going up against Passion, these are the 5 maps that we're going to get. Again, Express and Apocalypse are in the rotation if you missed the CDL from the last week, but it was also available to be played in week number 1. EU just decided kind of collectively as a group of 8 teams, hey, let's give it another week before we really enter them into the pool. We're going to have that here. So looking overall at a team like Passion here, Visions, what are you kind of looking at as far as what they would need to do to get past Team Moon and come away still flawless after this match they have today?
Just keep closing up the hard points. I mean, they have been flawless just about in towards their hard points, just dropping a couple here and there. It's been one of their stronger game modes. Control is the only game mode where you're like, all right, throw a little bit iffy on, right? Just 2-2 at the moment. So there certainly could be some improvements coming in towards this week for them. But as long as they just keep winning out on the hard points and search and destroys, then they're looking pretty good going up against Team Moon. I think the pressure is certainly on them to try and take away maybe this first map or the second map for sure to make sure that you're able to contest the best of 5. But yeah, that's really the big takeaway. These guys are lights out in hardpoint, and you have to shut them down if you're going to be able to somehow find a series win.
And on the other side, there's a lot to kind of say about this Team Moon Squad Infinity. What are you looking at in this best of 5 as far as must win, have to have it if they want to try to beat Passion?
Having a look at Team Moon since the beginning of stage 2, their strength has most certainly points to you. Of course, first of all, you have to win that against another squad who are also very good at hardpoint. We've established that hardpoint is going to be very important to kick off the series. But I would like to see Team Moon really start to fill their holes a little bit here in terms of their search and destroy and their control gameplay. I don't believe they've won a control so far throughout stage 2. Of course, it's a very small sample size at the end of the day, only 4 matches. But still, you haven't won a control. If they can improve their search gameplay as well, just steal one of those game modes away and still end up winning those hard points. I know that's quite a wide-ranging win condition here for this team, but honestly, there is a chance for them to come out here and beat Passion.
Well, and that's kind of what we're looking at. I mean, to get into a world where these teams that are 1-3, in Team Moon's perspective here, and we'll talk about it more with 67K in the future when they're playing up against El Galacticos, you have to do something extraordinary. Like, it's just the fact of the matter.
True.
Like, you have to surprise squads. And, that control stat really does stand out in my mind for Team Moon because some of those losses have been against teams like Elite 2 and 67K. Both those squads are also 1-3. That's where I kind of mentioned at the top of the show that for Team Moon, you're 1-3, but you've already played a couple of the other squads that are also 1-3. So you have to find a way to beat a team like Passion, or in the future, during tomorrow, they'll play up against El Galacticos. The road does not become any easier to try to find these W's. So yeah, as much as this Team Moon squad has been a solid hardpoint team, I feel like you have to find a way to try to punish Passion, who's not the greatest control team in Europe right now, at least there, but it's just kind of hard to figure that's going to happen, Visions, when they're 0-4 overall in the mode.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Like, we are expecting to see some improvements, and I think the big takeaway here for them is that they did finish pretty high in towards that last cup here. Placing 3rd puts them in a pretty good spot to say, hey, we're contesting the top. We're able to still prove what we have on this roster and what we're able to bring to the table. So I think there's certainly room to say that they could do it, but it is the fact they have to clean up a lot of other game modes other than hardpoint. Now, it's probably the most important game mode to have down, right? When you're playing 2 of them every single series and you're able to get that down. So I would hope that this week was really just about practicing their search and destroy and practicing their control. And if you can get just at least decent at one of those 2 game modes, like, this is a squad that you could easily make an argument and say these guys could absolutely make some room in towards the playoffs, maybe knock out a couple of top squads. It's just about getting the other game modes on par with their hardpoint, because that's obviously the biggest problem. There's a lot of really strong search and destroy teams in Europe in general, so you're going to feel a lot of that punishment in those best of 5s if you have not gotten any strategies or any way to kind of figure out how you're going to play that game mode.
That's a strong point. Before we get going, we are getting the lobby set up for you guys to get into the mix outside of just the general, keys to victory for some of these squads in this matchup particularly. Infinity, is there anyone in specific that you're kind of looking for on the side of Team Moon to potentially take over and help this team find an advantage somewhere versus Team Passion?
Honestly, if I had to say a player that I would be looking at here, people are going to say favoritism. I really like him a lot, so I'm going to say Aroma. His AR presence on the map is really important, I think, to this squad. He's definitely improved, I think, tenfold over the course of the season, and he's always been a player that I think has sort of been waiting in the wings to really come up and have the chance to play at the very top level. Of course, you might remember Elitist from last season. He was the main AR on that roster and played extremely well, but towards the end of the season kind of just fell off a little bit in terms of the teams that he found himself on. This season feels a little bit different for him, and if he can really come out and perform well on this roster, a little bit better than what we saw from Team 3G last season, honestly, I think that team will be okay.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think it's been interesting because there are a number of squads, especially in the second elite, that I think surprised us when it came to, hey, these guys were able to collectively put together a group of players that normally are not assimilated with great success in Europe, and they qualify. Sure, there's a little bit of struggles going on right now, but it's kind of the same fold on Passion's side, because that team put together essentially the last minute for the qualifier visions, and not only do they qualify, they're still flawless. Who are you looking at in that squad as far as the player that's really kind of helped them get to that level and be flawless so far in a very tough group?
Yeah, I mean, when you're just looking at these individuals and you think of these guys coming together, I mean, right away, I feel like, looking at Hixie and Denza coming together was interesting to me, because I was looking at Obtained and I was like, damn, like these guys got one of the best submachine gun duos in the game, right? When you have Hixie and Callum, I thought like these guys look absolutely fantastic on the map. They're really difficult to deal with, and a lot of teams were struggling to put down their front line. So the fact that that duo kind of gets split up and you go with Denza, who's also been pretty pop off and has made a lot of big plays throughout this year so far in challengers, I think that those are the two players that I would kind of keep an eye on going in towards this. It just helps that you have Wee Man and Bids just kind of watching over behind you, right? Like locking lanes down and just creating room for this front line to be able to make plays on the map. So the fact that Singularity kind of splits off, they have to put things together last second and it comes together like it did and everything is clicking it's honestly a miracle, I feel like, to go 4-0 and have this dominant of a record for as far as the majority of their game modes besides Control. And Control is only naturally going to get better and better as these guys stay together longer and longer. So man, like I just don't know how they're going to be able to shut these guys down for as far as this Team Moon squad. But if you're going to do it, then you have to match the front line, and if so, then we'll see if they actually can come online and do it.
It's wild to think too, because Bids is running the AR flex essentially for this squad. So again, we know for a fact that in Europe the QBZ has not been used through week number 1. I haven't heard anything about the GAs changing into week number 2. So if we get those small up close and personal maps, the ability for them to run 3 SMGs is not to be shrugged away from, because Bids dropping an AR for an SMG only makes this team, I think, better. And maybe one of the reasons why they were able to come out in the first week playing up against not just Rams at the time, but also Orgless, who were our grand finalists from stage 1. That puts you on a very even footing, I think, when it comes to being a top team in Europe overall. But we're getting into Raid. We'll say farewell to Infinity for now. He'll be back to join us at the very end, and that means that, well, Visions will just jump on in and commentate over this opening Raid hardpoint. Again, the big thing here is that you have to come out with a win if you're Team Moon. Your best mode is hardpoint. You cannot fall short starting things off so quickly.
I agree. You have to come out here strong, and well, so far they get some of those initial points, but they can't exactly flood all the way through ramp, so they want to come in from behind. Is he going to do exactly that as he loses some of his teammates? Weeman can't really find the gunfight, so is he able to find himself that first kill? Bids trying to play a little bit of cleanup in towards the back here, as it is still Passion collecting all of his time. They want to give it one more good hit. That break might just end up coming through here as they're able to contest the point. Bids from behind, able to add some assistance. Almost a second, will lose the battle, but finally we'll start to make this rotation in Passion. They come out ahead massively on P1.
It almost feels a bit pensive from Team Moon overall. I mean, they're kind of fighting passively from the backside of the hard point, and now you can even see that with the gunfight losses, they find themselves being threatened for their back spawns for Kitchen. Now, the second hard point will open, and Team Moon will be here first, but you already saw number 4, and Brezzy had to stretch his way into the hard point. He was not a part of this initial play from the back. So Passion now setting up a bit of a 2-2 split. 2 players from behind, a couple more from the window, and so far the kills are dead even in pinstripe feed. Brezzy, though the last player left alive, cannot find Denza, and that will mean that Passion have broken through, and they will gain this time early on in the second hard point.
Look at Bids, man. He's looking good with this AR, Alan. 8-2 start for him. I mean, they're controlling the spawns in towards the back. This is a lot of room. And this gives you a chance now to be able to not only collect this time, but even with the rotation, as Bids, he's still going strong. He finds another 2-piece. Give him 3, why don't you? Bids just having a heyday. Puts him on 5 in a row, locking things down. We wanted to see how we do with the Krig, Alan. Well, he's performing pretty well with it, isn't he?
Look, he's been one of those guys that, you know, last year with Singular and in Modern Warfare, I really do accredit a lot of the success that team had to Bids. He played a very difficult role as an SMG MP5 player in a game that was sometimes very difficult to find success with MP5 with how many M4s were around. And he made it work. And now he has to showcase flexibility by going to an AR, a slow AR. And he's played just as well, if not potentially better in a lot of arguments. Passion now in an opportunity to kind of use Hixie and Bids together to try to work around the back, but an unfortunate team kill will stop this hit really before it gets off the ground, and Team Moon really good for the first opening 30 seconds here in the rush.
They needed this. This is a big 30 seconds to get, and maybe even another 30 seconds pending they can hold off this next push. They will come in. Passion find a bit of an opening through the middle, but it's dealt with from Genesis and PD. Now trades back and forth. You might try and get in here if you're Wee Man. If you can find a kill, great. And he does manage to win the one-on-one battle here. So scrap time will go over to Passion. But now we look across the map, and it's a brief 3-on-3. Terrence finds that first kill there on towards Hixie, so he creates a bit of room, but up top, everything coming through beautifully for Passion. Just need to find the trade in towards the point. Bids does so, but he's got too many white members maybe to deal with, so they will be able to overwhelm him. And now Team Moon in a position to start bringing this one back.
You know, considering the fact that the score at one point in time was pretty lopsided, outside of PD having a bit of a slow start, everyone's participating at a pretty even level when it comes to Team Moon. Just comes down to being able to win those gunfights on rotation, or when you're trying to set up a hold, make sure you're actually setting up a hold. And now they have an opportunity to kind of do that. First 35 seconds have pretty much come and gone at this point in time without not a lot of contest. I mean, outside of Bids playing by himself through the back, this has been very secured for Team Moon. And how about it? An opportunity here to retake the lead.
Take a look at Brezzy here. He's the one who's actually kind of made a bit of a difference for as far as why this team has now just come back in towards the game and taken the lead, as you just said there, Alan. He is now 10-5. You have 10-5 or 10-7, excuse me, here for Terrence. So you have a couple players that are starting to heat up, but now you're looking for PD and Genesis to kind of bring the same. And we'll make this rotation towards our last hill in the very first set. Gunfight 1 there for Wee Man. A good setup. Difficult for PD to try and break. Looking for some targets. Little ring around the rosy on the rock. Won't win that one. Bids finds 2. Hixie gets the 3rd. And another beautiful moment here for Passion as they're able to get the setup first and will hold off the first push.
And that was a chalk of about 18 seconds where Team Moon were like, you can have basketball, it's fine. We're just going to try to play our spawns over towards the raid statue area and then kind of envelop this hard point for the 5th. And, well, it's not all that successful, is it? You've got 20 seconds come and gone, and Passion looking very clean. Wee Man even getting involved here near the end as he's one of the last players left alive. Even gets his regen off to stay a little bit extra healthy. Terrence, also, again, known as Aroma, one of the players that we were looking at to kind of see how he would do, gets taken down. But eventually the SMGs for Team Moon will work their way in pretty bullheadedly, and that will make sure that they are able to get a little bit of time here on the 5th hard point to keep the game close.
Game close, but PD up top here. A couple rotational kills. Wee Man says no. We'll be able to find that trade. Terrence now trying to get away so he can reposition in towards what would be a massive gunfight. Still under fire. Trophy system goes down. He's going to take the position of his teammate, as they're going to be fighting for P1. Terrence still alive. 15-10 now for the AR, but Bids quick to clean them up as Wee Man follows up with a second. So the AR is doing a bit of work here to allow the subs to move on through. Brezzy and Genesis, however, they deal with it beautifully there in the 2v3, Alan. So they're able to maintain control on Team Moon. A chance to be able to take that lead right back in their favor.
There's so many positives you could say between Brezzy and Terrence. That duality has been great, but Genesis almost has a minute and a half worth of hill time, and he's about even in the KD ratio. That is incredible. So if you're a Team Moon fan looking for a win, all you really are hoping for is that PD can continue to kind of step things up little by little. And how about it? Finds himself 2 in the feed. Brezzy takes down the 4th. That is a full 4-man wipe. Team Moon looking to lock down the scrap time. And if you look at the minimap, look at this aggressive zone they have in front of the kitchen.
This is so difficult to rotate through, and you now have one player who just goes through the middle of the map. He tries to scout for some information, but because Terrence just backs up and plays his life, it allows Brezzy to go for a pinch if he decides to. He doesn't hit it. They all back up defensively, and now they're in a great spot to be able to stop this push from coming through. Passion, they need to win the gunfights in the back, but they don't check for Terrence, so Terrence cleans up 2 in from behind, locking down the spawns, making sure they're close. Brezzy now in the point, finds 2 as well. A beautiful setup for Team Moon as they will start to run away with a bit of a lead.
This is why we said their hard point has been so dangerous. Even with the 1-3 stat line, they hold one of the top hard point statistical win-loss ratios and win differentials in the EU Elite scene. And you're starting to see a little bit of why. Brezzy at 22-9 has already gotten a minute and 10 seconds with a hill time. So even though the scrap time looks to be controlled by Passion, it's not going to be given away for free. Team Moon trying to work their way back in. Weeman using whatever weapon is available at his feet does enough to find 1 kill plus some damage that'll allow Hixie to clean things up on 4 in a row.
Oh, but Genesis, he finds a massive kill in the Denza, so this slows down the rotation, and they know where Bids is. Bids is the farthest one pushed up because that hill is still active in the kitchen. He's able to play his life, finds that first kill, has an excellent read for the second, maybe a third. Terran denies him, shuts him down as Genesis also locks things down for now, but Denza looking to make that move, able to tag up Genesis a bit, looking for a bit of help. Reach out was there, Denza good for the kill. Just contesting the time as his teammates are trying to flood in towards the point, but they don't have the close spawn. Denza still alive. Can he find another kill? It's PD trying to get a trade right now, but Denza doesn't allow anyone inside. He fends them off as long as he can, and now Hixie, next one up, as he's also contesting the garage hill.
It's all just down to who can win these last trades. No one's going to have the spawns for right now close by. And with 20 seconds left, you really don't want to give this away. PD's doing what he can to stay up, but will eventually be overwhelmed. And with the better part of about 20 seconds to soak, Passion will make this relatively close to about a, 5-point game if they soak up every last second or so. And now we turn our attention to how does Team Moon want to set up this rotation? Last time we were here, they were great, but they did let Bids through the back pretty freely. Things got scary. Now it's Denza, who's doing almost the exact same thing. Finds 1 kill, knows that Genesis should be nearby, spins over, down to 26 HP, stays alive for Weeman to finesse the kill, and now down to the hard point we go. PD cannot do too much of anything, and Passion an opportunity to retake their lead with a full break.
That was a great break. I mean, they just took their time up top, just waited to try and find the kills. But the problem is that they don't win the gunfights inside of the hard point now. So Team Moon, with about 35 seconds left on this basketball hill, puts Passion in a difficult situation. They don't want this time to go over, so they should give this one more good hit, but it's a difficult setup to break. Genesis, the first one to get any reads. The nade will push him out of the power spot for the moment, but Genesis for 1, Genesis almost for 2. His teammates clean just about everyone else up, and this puts them so close to ending the game as Passion just simply has to set up for our next hill.
They have to be really dominant as well, but if you take a look at the minimap, their setup is actually pretty darn complete. You've got Hixie, who's going to be playing over by the statue. Denza's going to be the one to soak up the hard point time, and everybody else is just trying to zone off this open staircase. Big first kill for Brezzy. 2:43 is where the clock has stalled, and there is enough technical hard point time here. If Passion are perfect, they could win the game themselves right here, but the kills have not been good. Team Moon has found a couple. Now they're on their way in. Bids does well to find a couple of eliminations, but the rest of his teammates are already fallen, and that means the break is going to be here. Team Moon just need a couple more seconds. They find 1 kill. They get the second. Team Moon, we said they needed to win map number 1. They do so. 250, 209.
They deliver, Alan, and it comes down to just a lot of those rotations that we talked about around basketball and garage, but it's also, you know, these little plays that are being made from their front line that I think was seriously lacking. I talked about Hixie and Denza being, you know, one of the better subs, I feel like, in Europe at the moment, but we didn't really get that, you know, consistent performance that we usually do out of those guys. So because of it, it was just, I feel like the Submachine Gun show taking over there for us, and Team Moon really putting on a show, right? They have to take it. You said it. They do so. They deliver. They fix some of those mistakes they were making on that first set. They start playing a lot more aggressive and just take that game completely into their own control, and they're just getting all of the majority of time. So a great start towards the series. They had to take map 1, they do, and now we'll see if they have improvements going in towards our search and destroys as well as the controls.
That's the big question here, friend, because look, they, by elite statistics alone, rank dead last in search, dead last in control. Out of all the maps they've played in search and control, there's only been 1 map win, and that was in a search and destroy. All of their losses in search have largely also been blowouts as well. So that's not great news. That's going to have to change, especially versus a Passion team that is so good at search and destroy. Now, again, that was a week ago, and you go into what they just recently did during Cup number 9, and Team Moon finished 3rd, just behind this Passion team. So you have to assume that there are corrections there. But the big question really in my mind is that we have Express coming up. That's going to be, I think, again, a little bit fresh when it comes down to what we've seen so far in this region overall, because they did essentially decide collectively as a group of 8 that we weren't going to play Apocalypse or Express in week number 1 of this stage 2 of Elite.
And this is still a map where sure you can go back to Black Ops 2 and kind of figure out maybe some of the ideal setups, what was working for really good search and destroy teams back then, but things have drastically changed. I think, just
So much.
watching over Express in CDL, there was just a lot of wallbang spots that were like, wait, you can wallbang that now? Or it's like, these little just kind of positions that used to be really safe that aren't anymore. So that affects drastically how you're looking to set up for these post plants. And I think a lot of what has taken place, very similar to before, is that you don't want this bomb to go down by A because of how difficult it is to break in towards control. We don't have smoke, so you can't just smoke the bomb and kind of, force them to come out of some of these positions to go lurking for the bomb to make sure no one's defusing. It's played a lot differently. So I think teams are more willing to give up the initial setup for B to play safer on towards A and then play for the retakes, right? So I'm curious to see for Europe if that is also something that's going to kind of take place similar to CDL, or if we maybe are going to get some change-ups for as far as how they're looking to play up the map.
And, one of the things that I feel like a lot of the Challengers player base and community at large would say is that they feel like they are more complete at search and destroy than some of the CDL teams. At the beginning of the year, I think that's okay. There's an argument to be made. But at a certain point, especially with teams like Team Moon and even this Passion squad, they're relatively recently put together as of this stage specifically. So how much carries over from the teams that you were playing with before versus you essentially have to reinvent the wheel? So I don't know. I'll be interested because let's be candid. The Express that we saw last week in the CDL, it was all over the place. We saw some very aggressive, we're just going to run at each other moments, and then others that was like, no one's going to make a move until 20 seconds left on the clock. So it'll be interesting, I think, to see what the tempo and play style looks like for these two squads. I know it's like a very loose and vague thing to say, but I'm mostly looking at that from Team Moon's perspective. Have they been to kind of create their own identity in what they want to do on Search and Destroy? Because at the moment, through what we've seen so far in Stage 2 of EU Elite, it hasn't been good. And they're going to have to find steep improvements if they want to take down the best team currently in European Elite in the form of Passion Search and Destroy.
And I mean, what better map to do it? A map that everyone's kind of fresh onto, right? Like, I really do like the veto process for as far as like actually bringing in Express, because we know that, Passion is be able to practice on all the other ones. So that's something that you can look to use. Some of this fast, aggressive tempo that we did see there and towards the hard point is something you can bring to a lot of the initial rounds. I think that's kind of what takes place as far as our search and destroys right now in the meta. It's like, let's play like super aggressive, like the very first couple of rounds, kind of feel them out. How are they playing? Where can we look to exploit? And then as we go in towards the second half, when maybe things are super close, it's like, all right, we're going to slow things down now. We want to play for picks. So it's kind of funny to see how that's kind of also taken effect for as far as Cold War, especially with how the map layouts kind of are with our current sets. So that is also something to kind of take in. But I feel like you're feeling really good coming off of that win here for Team Moon. And you do have a couple of, players that have been able to take over Search and Destroy games before. If you can do it here again, and as we talk about building up some of that momentum and at least taking this game mode, going in towards control where you're weaker, you're going to feel a lot more confident going in towards the rest of the series here as well. So that's why I think there's also, a lot of emphasis on taking the second map here for them on a map that everyone is still fresh on.
And I think, when you look overall at Team Moon, you're looking at this Search and Destroy. Nobody on the team has a 1.0 KD yet, which is, I think, to be expected because of the results that they found so far. Haven't been a lot of success. But I think overall, you have to take a look at someone like Genesis to really kind of maybe be that guy. He currently in this team has the highest overall KD in Search. It's a very small margin. But as someone who just came off the hard point playing as the objective SMG, I have to figure that he's going to be the guy to try to be that first person in, which is why I turn my attention to him now that we go to the Search and Destroy. If he can find those first bloods, that could be where the win condition lies. Because Passion, very dominant when they've got a setup that they like. We know that. We even saw it in the hard point. When they've got a good setup, they're very difficult to break. So in my mind, I'm looking at Genesis to be the guy to kind of be the monkey wrench in the system. See if he can find a gap or an opening, get a first blood, value his life, and then from there, Team Moon, I just want to see them play when they have numbers. Play smart, play successfully, be efficient in when it comes to trading in 4v3s. If you can do that, I think there's an opportunity here. And let's be honest, they didn't get through Cup number 9 only winning hard points. You have to figure that at some point in time, they had to grab at least one when it's the search or the control. So hopefully that has been kind of a focus for them, and they can bring that with a little bit more resiliency getting into this second map here. And who knows, going up 2-0, we mentioned that, yeah, Passion's been flawless so far, but it's been surprising. And we're not sitting there and saying that these guys are the EU gods right now.
Sure.
They definitely have shown vulnerability. So maybe there is that opportunity to go up 2-0 here for Team Moon.
That's right. There's a possibility, and I love you bring up the fact that, you know, these guys did place third. They had to win something other than their hard points, and I think there is something to be said when you are playing in some of these cups and these tournaments that, you know, you're going series to series to series rather than just like prepping for like 2 on a day, so to speak. It gives you just so much room to look at what is this squad doing compared to this squad, and it gives you kind of just an analysis on this is what we should be doing, or this is like what our strengths are. Let's start playing to this and stop playing towards their weaknesses, right? I think that's when a lot of these top teams that have stuff together start to have some chemistry, start to play towards, like, why are we playing towards our opponent's weaknesses when we should just be playing off of our strengths? And a team where you have some of these aggressive subs, like you talked about, Genesis being maybe one of the players to watch out for as far as search and destroy, look to enable him, right? I think that's really what we're going to be looking at here. And with all the reps that you just got from this weekend, this puts you in a pretty advantageous spot to take a lot away, kind of figure out how you're going to be able to break in towards these setups, kind of figure out what you are looking to do and take away on the map. And then I think a big part of that is going to have to be done from the front line, because we saw last game, I mean, just because we saw Passion lose doesn't mean it was necessarily all on you know, the back line. I think the big takeaways were Bids and Weeman were playing pretty well, right? They were kind of setting things up. It was just the front line wasn't able to do so. So we'll see if maybe that will play a factor going in towards this one as well, and if they can maybe kind of shut those guys down as well, create some room, create those 4v3s that you're talking about, Alan, and actually come out ahead with it.
I'm glad that you brought up Bids, because, you know, shout outs to JP Digits. He was sending some statistics and stuff like that. Bids currently holds the 3rd overall best KD in the European Elite. Damn. And his 2nd best KD in Search and Destroy in the European Elite, 1.48. So I don't know if you were trying to work off that statistic or not, but boy, did you. And so we'll see what happens, as Passion will be the team on offense first. I feel like traditionally we do see a lot of opening hits towards B, and that will still be the case. Very aggressive, but the spam spots right through the info tower is good for Aroma to find a number of information. And, well, the kills will be very quick through Ticket as well. But it does leave us with a 2v2 very early on. And outside of Brezzy trying to stop this rotation, he is caught by himself. Weeman tagged low. Semtex will flush him out, but he, well, actually does not stay alive. It's going to be enough help from Hixie to make sure they go into a 2v1. Good
help there. And, I mean, Terrence, he's got information on both. He does mantle through mid, so don't know if there's a sound cue that they're kind of worried about, but they are playing pretty safe. Because of all those kills going down so early, it gives them a lot of room to play with. And now Terrence able to find that first one, but it looks like they know where he is as well. Tries to slip away, can't do it in time, so they will be able to clean things up, find themselves the win here, Alan, and that's just a great backup to play the 2v1 as we talk about playing with numbers.
Love the play, though, here. I think defensively from the side of Team Moon, you get aggressive. You take away the upper kind of archway by Terminal, and you also, of course, get a nice little crossfire set up down low by Info. But the problem there was the fact that as Brezzy rotated over to stop the rotation, he didn't stop the rotation. So one important kill came through for Passion, giving them that 2v1 situation. Not bad overall from Team Moon. Definitely like the corrections so far when it comes to trying to envelop a bomb site and make sure that they at least go kill for kill. But this time, their first offense will head directly towards A, and pretty aggressively. You've got Brezzy and Genesis on one side trying to work up top. It's Denza and Weeman that are down low. Stun will connect, but it's Denza not just good for one, gets the second, and then Bids rotates over to help. The defensive Passion completely dominates the initial hit.
All they do, Terrence, is just got all alone. Nothing you can do. And that's what we kind of heavily talked about as well going in towards this matchup, is the fact that teams are more willing to just give up the B site, set up around A. Do not let them get control. You have a 4-player stack here, while one is kind of sitting and bobbing, weaving by the bridge, watching for the flank, watching for the push up the catwalk. So it just enables them to shut this down. And the Team Moon are like, really, all 4 of them just there? It's like, yeah, they absolutely were. They were ready for you. They're able to shut that round down, and now they go up 2-0.
It'll be interesting, I think, to see if Passion continues to do that, where they're essentially going to forfeit that B side and essentially tell us that they're favored to play retake defensively. We'll save that conversation for a further round as we get into this B hit. Denza will be the first one to get forward. Trophy system to try to keep the bomb site itself safe. And Hixie will be the one trying to plant. Stun check does connect. Beautiful timing, but it is traded. So 3v3 we go. Post-plant setup can now get underway, though, as Passion have gotten the bomb down.
Bomb goes down. How are they going to try to retake this? Looks like right through Ticket Booth. PD already inside. Terrence waiting to make his move. And PD actually opens up. So you have a 3 versus 2. Weeman also falling, and it's all up to Bids. He does get a good angle to come in from behind here. Waiting to take the shots. Does Brezzy see him? I think he might have. That's going to be the first kill. Good for him. 18 seconds on the clock. Can he stall? Terrence has to get on the bomb, and PD's like, where the hell did he go? He might actually finesse this, finds it, and actually gets away! Bids, no way you do this! Unbelievable 1v3, playing the clock. The patience is there. PD can't find him. Passion, 3 rounds in a row.
That may have been one of the best finesses around a post plant we've seen in Cold War. I mean, he is looking at him long enough to give a very accurate description. If there were to be a police report, yeah, brown eyes, ponytail, about 5'8", wearing black shoes. Then there's this guy. What are you doing, PD? I'm not covering Terrence well enough. I mean, that is absolutely, I'll say it, probably the best finesse that we've seen around a post plant so far in Cold War. Unreal.
Oh, and is that ever a dagger too, right? 3-0 now, where this should be 2-1. And Team Moon, would have got themselves on the board. Could have started to build off that. Not the case. And now you need this round. And, well, it's going to start to go down in the middle of the map. Pixie with the challenge aggressively. Terrence able to play his life, but not before everyone else gets traded out. And, well, 15 seconds of the round, Brezzy, he's caught in a 1v3.
Passion has thrown so much off speed to Team Moon. I mean, the 4-man stack to A in their first defense. This time it's 4 players right down the train tracks. I mean, you just start to see exactly why this Team Passion squad is as good at search and destroy as they are. So, Brezzy, you would have to do something miraculous here. 1v3, not a lot of information either. Is going to try to work his way over towards the B site, which, to be fair, is pretty vacant at the moment. It just comes down to, are there any rooms for rent? And, well, the answer seems to be no. Denza will find the information. Semtex will come through. Slide shell from the opposite direction. Passion go up 4-0 early.
And this is the ability of having all those rounds under your belt, right? Where you're able to go for these mid-map hits and throw your teammate, or throw your opponents off, rather. And if you end up dropping, it's still fine. You're up 3-1. So this is where I love to see teams actually play a little bit risky and just try to be annoying more than anything, right? Like, you could go for a B hit here if you're Passion, keep one player by bridge where he has the ability to either come up catwalk and help, or just simply go for a bit of a flank, maybe through A, create some havoc. Like, this is the ability that you have when you're this far in towards a search and destroy. And Team Moon, they need to find a response, and they need it now if they're coming back in towards this one. It will be a lined up for another hit towards this B site. Trades go back and forth, and we'll see Denza try to get through with that bomb. Trade should be there. It is, and now Weeman left alone in a 1v2.
That's just a great example of, even with Team Moon coming out on top, Passion are not making it easy on them. So Weeman has now snuck through. He'll play through the defensive terminal in this 1v2 with tons of time. And if his timing is good, he could find technically either of these players completely exposed. There's Genesis, but it's Aroma from the opposite corner able to find the easy trade. So Team Mood finally on the board, but again, it just feels really dicey throughout a lot of these defensive rounds that they've even put together.
I think it does feel that way for the simple reason where if those trades just go the opposite way, right? Like, Passion come out and they use the aggression, they get the site, and then they get the bomb down. So, yeah, a lot of what Team Moon, I think, are doing is just trying to play really responsive to how Passion have played the map here thus far. They do change things up a bit by going towards B, and Team Moon are actually ready for it. So now they're going to take the bomb, what looks to be back towards the A hit. And this is a 3-man stack by B. So this time around, they're not actually going to be reading the initial hit towards A, as everyone just going to be kind of waiting and baiting out here for the moment, playing a little bit patient. PD, a couple stun checks just to make sure that top control is fully clear as he waits to make this move. But until you get a pick, it's not easy to get towards this A side because nades are going to come raining over. So you have to get a trophy down. You have to just try and hope to God that the bomb does get planted.
Oh, and look, I mean, PD, he's already throwing his Semtex just to make sure no one's sitting on the coast planner. You see the 2 players defensively here for Passion. Those are both of your AR players. So Bids and Weeman, even though they are pretty distant from the site, they should have a pretty good angle to try to watch over the top of it. But Team Moon, getting a bit of cold feet, wanted to rotate, and that will be denied by Denza. So now you have to commit. 35 seconds. Here's the angle from Bids. He reads the information, doesn't even take any shots, just wants to wait for help, and it will be a retake here for Passion. It just comes down to from which angle do they eventually want to commit, try to overwhelm this, because to be fair, they've given Team Moon a ton of ground to set up where they want.
And there's the first gunfight. Beautiful. Terrence able to find it. Denza, he's pushed back after retake some shots. And now Brezzy finds another one. This is the difficulty of breaking the site. Bids needs to find value. He can't. Terrence for 2. Leaves Denza all alone with only 20 seconds left. A beautiful round for Team Moon. They play for that post setup. They lock things down, and they don't lose a single member in control.
I would be really interested to get into the mind of Vince right there, because he watched two players come across from inside the site, from underneath that top tower. He just watches them cross over. You know the play is for sure going to be over towards the safe site. What were they waiting on as far as trying to clear space? Were they waiting for someone to rotate from B and clear the trains before they try to make a call through? It just felt a little bit disjointed. And well, like I mentioned in real time, Team Moon got the setup that they wanted for their post plant. No one shot at them while they were planning, nor when they were exiting off the post plant. They get up top in the high ground, and from there it's just maybe even arguably a little bit too easy to take that 3v4 in the end.
Well, can they keep this momentum rolling? 2 in a row. Brezzy, hello! Finds himself a kill. Denza right behind him there. But do they expect PD to be up here as well? Because, you know, you usually expect two people to be aggressive at once. PD can't win that gunfight. The Krieg good up close there with Wee Man, as they're able to create a numbers advantage now. 3 versus 2. Genesis and Terrence both going to be trying to get together, as it appears, back towards A. Denza going to throw a trophy down, but it looks like they might be looking for a rotation, and I like this. You have a good amount of time on the clock, about 50 seconds. You can take the fast track through Catwalk, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Well, we do know that Daniel Craig may only be starring in one more James Bond movie. Genesis could be up in the casting call. He's 0-6. Would really like to not be a part of the agency, and there it is. First kill for him. Big one as well to take things to a 2v2. Post-plant setup, though, could be established for Passion, although not nearly as secure with just 2 members. They're going to try to play this one a little bit looser by playing through the terminal. Bids will watch one side, Denza the opposite. So they will be isolated, and Team Moon on the retake will try to collectively isolate down low through this terminal, and Denza's been scouted. So Genesis, what's the call here? Turns his attention to Bids, who came out of the upper areas. Finds the elimination, and now it's just down to 1. Denza trying to work his way around the back. The timing is going to be great for not just 1, but 2. Completely unawares was Team Moon on where he was coming from, and Passion put themselves on map point.
Team Moon, they might not want to go to sleep tonight, Alan. I mean, they're going to have nightmares about this exact moment now twice. Bids did it to him, and then we just had the same thing from Denza. So, man, it's tough because, you know, you have to kind of pick an angle, right, and just hope that you guess right in that situation. So you can't really, you know, put anyone at fault for that 1v2 coming through. But it is a heads-up play for Denza, you know, making the wrap in behind and being able to make that play now work twice after seeing Bids do it. But here is a full attack towards B. Everyone's starting to post up for Team Moon, but that first kill will be good for Hickson. Second good for Denza, and we'll right away. Terrence is like, guys, where's my teammates?
Yeah, well, they're all gone. This is the answer to that. That's one of those things. It's like you're trying to comm on the radio, and then the enemy has the radio. Like, have you, like, Die Hard, like the original Die Hard? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure, because often my movie references are lost on you. It's like, Hans, where are you? And then it's McClane. He says, I've got a machine gun now. That's pretty much what happens. I don't know where I'm going with that. But a 6-4. Overall, good stuff from Passion. Encouraging signs from Team Moon. I mean, yeah, a couple of sloppy rounds here or there trying to get defusals, but overall, not the worst stat line we've seen from them so far in a search and destroy loss.
Yeah, not the worst. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rounds where you could, you know, absolutely have taken those, right? There's a lot of numbers advantages. It's not like they're just getting, you know, completely wiped round after round. I think maybe there was a couple times that we saw it, like in that last one, for example. But other than that, like, it feels like they're keeping things relatively close. It's just they're not able to make some of the same plays that we're seeing from Passion. And I think that just comes from, you know, a lot of the experience that those guys have individually, right, Alan? We're talking about the Singularity players coming off of that roster, you know, previously being Denza and Bids. So these guys just able to, you know, finesse a lot of those moments, make some of those big plays, and those rounds add up. So yeah, they're able to take the search and destroy away, and now we go towards their control, where things get really interesting for us, because both teams aren't necessarily the best, but you don't have a win yet for Team Moon. Right. I think that's really the takeaway, right? These guys have not been good in control whatsoever, and I mean, this would be certainly a time to shine in it if you can look to kind of exploit the weak game modes here overall from this Passion squad.
Yeah, we'll keep kind of talking through that as we look back over some of the momentous plays that we saw in the search and destroy just prior. It's just one of those things that you kind of take some of what we saw from the search for Team Moon, and you have to apply it, I think, to the decision making that is required in the control. Now, I'm not going to sit there and be able to classify 100% like, oh, because they played like this on Express Search and Destroy, we're going to be concerned about this when it comes to control on Garrison. But let's be honest, we couldn't lie about the fact that Garrison attack, you have to be very, very disciplined when it comes to When are we trying to push across the map, and how are we trying to push across the map? And some of those instances in decision-making was a bit questionable from Team Moon. That one instance where we saw Brezzy kind of slide off top tower into 2 Passion members down low. You know, what are we watching? What lanes are we clearing while we're trying to set up a defuse? The same things will be in conversation when we're trying to talk about their offense, locking down a control zone. How are you going to watch these crosses? How are you going to be able to kind of cover each other? Garrison, not an easy map to try to figure those things out if you're not prepared. Now, granted, like you had mentioned, Passion, the 5th ranked team so far through 4 instances on control, but this is the worst EU Elite team when it comes to control right now. So there has to be improvements, and they have to be both improvements. They can't just be marginal. I mean, you have to essentially take all the respawns, I think, in our mind when it comes to getting an upset here versus Passion.
Yeah, I mean, with the way that Passion is playing Search and Destroy at the moment, yeah, I don't think you want things to go towards a map 5. So getting this and then having a chance to close things out going in towards the hard point is probably best case scenario for these guys.
Yes.
I absolutely agree with you, Alan. And this is, I mean, this is what's going to be coming down to a lot of that teamwork that we have seen play out in hard point. And as much as the game mode, you know, is a little bit different, if you can just slow things down, I feel like in the moments like Checkmate and Garrison, especially on your offenses, and just wait for each other, you know, add in some of that small talk for as far as what you're looking to do and play off of each other, then you're gonna have a much better time than someone just trying to make a heroic play, because it doesn't work very often. And if you can make it work, great, but it's not something you can necessarily rely on. So we'll see if anything different comes through for either one of these squads for us. Right now, it is going to be the attack for Passion. They've already made their way in towards Lights. They're attacking this B zone, and that first pick will be good.
You want to hear a fun stat here, Visions?
Maybe.
Out of the 3 total times that both of these teams have played this map mode combination, none of them have a round win. All 3 instances that we saw were 0-3s from both of these squads. So someone's going to get their first round win, let alone map win here on Garrison Control. And, well, so far so good, really, for Passion. I mean, you get nearly 2 ticks of progress at B. You're going to have a little bit more of a harder time getting there now as Team Moon is all over the middle of the map. And while Brezzy and PD will make sure that stays the case, as the second set of respawns for Passion are also denied. And alongside that, simultaneously, that second tick of progress will be fully depleted.
Brezzy here with a little bit mid-map control as a player up top green. This is a good situation to be in right now, but the trades just come through. Weeman tearing them apart. That opens up 3, and they're going to be able to stop the clock. Just going to stack this zone with 3 members to try and get that as fast as possible, and it will come through. It looks like a complete concede here for the side of Team Moon as they're going to get set up for this A zone. Terrence in the back, important role with Brezzy to make sure that they don't get control of bricks right away on this first initial push. Bids and Weeman starting to get it done as the shots come through there. Killed good for Petey. Brezzy in from behind also stops Bids, but Hixie for 2 is creating a bit of space, forcing those spawns a little bit deeper, and now they have a chance to start working towards it.
But you have to get these kills as soon as you possibly can, really for both sides POV. You can't just live out this back alley because the ability to come around the back is very, very easy for Team Moon to do. It'll be an even exchange, and with Hixie staying alive on 3, he will retreat back to the A zone, try to stack this and maybe get a little bit of progress with Weeman, but it's actually Weeman who has given up his feet onto the patrol zone itself to play for the easy angle, watching into defensive rotations. First tick has gone through. Team Moon posturing for a retake through Cobble. Ooh, not a win there. I thought Genesis was going to have the jump on 1. It's Weeman who keeps things interesting. 2v2 for the point, but it's Aroma and Brezzy that eventually reclaim it just before the second tick of progress is confirmed.
That was a big moment, making sure that second tick doesn't come through, because then you just need 1 push and then a stack, and you absolutely take this first offensive round. But you have to play defense. Trying to fend off the second push is about 13 to 11 life, so we're not unhealthy on them just yet. But with this push from Passion, I mean, this very well could do it for us. We got player 8, that's Terrence. He is going to be inside of green right now, but you have a complete setup for as far as starting to look for spawn kills. Weeman isn't able to find anything, but you still have to track quite a bit of space before you can even get towards the zone. They will deal with Terrence, and now that second tick looks like it should come through.
Passion's giving up a lot of space. Look at this play coming around the back from the top of green. You got to get here quickly, though, because there is a double team stack coming through. Terrence deals with 1. The touch will be there just in the nick of time. Brezzy and Petey will reclaim the zone. Catastrophic collapse from Passion. They had 3 players that could have stacked, but instead they sent Weeman to go play for spawn kills, and now you only have 8 seconds. Desperation through tires. Hixie the first one forward. Pirouetting on in. Will get there for a time, but the defensive Team Moon will hold strong, and they will be the first of our 2 teams to see at least a round win on this map mode combo.
Alan, what a bold call it was to go in from behind top green, because yeah, they very well could have stacked that, right? Just secure the offensive round, get as many members on there as possible, because you know where they're spawning, you have the information, but they didn't necessarily utilize it there to their best ability, and they weren't probably expecting two people to come in from behind, to come dropping down on them on the zone and save it at the last possible second. Just a massive clutch play. We talk about these rounds on Garrison and how important they are for the defensive side to close out. That's what Team Moon is able to do. But now they are also going to be switching sides, seeing if they can get something going on towards the attack. Bid's responsible for trying to patrol in and around green. PD going for a couple of shots, but isn't going to find anything. It's Weeman who opens up there with that first kill, and Bid's now able to start pushing up for some mid-map control.
Yeah, you can see what Team Moon wants to do. They're looking to dominate the middle of the map before they even make an approach to either control zone. But Passion have read this, and it's going to really be just be down to Denza, beat Dennis. Little, I mean, Easter's still a couple of days away, but Denza finds a little bunny hop to find the easy kill, and that will mean that Passion have now formidably put themselves into the middle of the map, but that's not going to stall Team Moon from moving pretty quickly, trying to work their way through. PD's actually snuck around, gets on towards Lights to the B zone, but eventually gets bounced out by Weeman, and Passion's defense still holding strong with just 30 seconds remaining on the clock.
Genesis in from behind here, able to maybe disrupt the setup, but he can't go to the zone because they're going to know. And Weeman, yeah, I think he might have gotten a call out or either just had the read. So they're able to make sure that nothing happens in from behind. Terrence, though, finds a big kill on towards Bid. So this allows them to stop the clock, and they desperately need to because they only got about 16 and a half seconds to try and play this round out. Terrence gets the challenge. It will be a kill, but a trade right after. Team Moon, yeah, they can't leave the zone out, and they got to somehow win out on the next 3 ticks.
Risky play from Denza to even take that challenge in the first place. Help was nearly there, but now you've got Team Moon who still have gotten into Lights. Trying to pinch things up was Weeman. He gets shut down. No success for Denza. That's going to be the B zone. And keep an eye on number 5 and 6. They've made their way through the middle of the map. They can actually pinch behind Hixie. The kill is there for PD. Defensive help has come off spawn, but oh, just marginally.
Just get there in time, as yeah, you just have to play your life if you're Brez. You gotta wait for your teammates to start to move up the middle of the map. This gunfight would be big because it would open up the ability to go through bricks, but Genesis there for one. Can't exactly find the second for as far as a line of sight just yet. So you're waiting for your fourth down to come off spawn. You need a couple kills to come through. Genesis with another, and that creates room now in towards the back. You can look to flood on through because Hixie's gonna be coming off spawn. Get yourself inside of bricks to start working towards the zone. It's just a matter of winning these next few gunfights. Will they be able to do it? Brezzy and Genesis waiting patiently, but you only got about 35 seconds left to start making some plays.
They've got the full surround. The problem is Passion have essentially allowed them to get into this area, and they say, come into the jar with our defense. And that is exactly what will happen. 3 straight kills will be there. A 1 life lead, but this one will likely be determined by the clock before it was determined by the lives. Genesis has found 1 elimination. You see what that does to Bids. He immediately has to retreat, essentially leaving Hixie out by himself, and he's only able to go 1 for 1. Still an opportunity for Team Moon to get here to touch. The problem is they're not really clearing a lot of space. So Passion coming off respawn from Lights, they have an opportunity to kind of surround this play. They are short-handed when it comes to the zone themselves. So with 1.8 seconds left, Genesis has stepped foot. Weeman wants to take the challenge. If he loses this, there's an opportunity here for Team Moon, but it was the Diamati that will eventually get the job done, and we'll go defense for defense, tied at 1.
And that one, I think, was just a couple of moments where they were waiting for kills to come through, but they didn't necessarily always have everyone together to make it. I think their best moment was when they came off of that last zone on the capture there through A, made the rotation over. They had 2 players already in from behind, but they didn't win enough gunfights to really kind of set up and stop the defense from moving back in. It was a great attempt, and it was a good try, but not enough to be able to come out with the round. So defense for defense, move in towards what will be a massive swing round. Passion got extremely close last time, and if you take a look at what Weeman has been doing, I mean, that has been primarily because of him with this AR that he's going to switch to here. 16 objective score. He's been just absolutely ruthless on towards the map, and he's just creating a lot of space for his teammates to be able to move towards the zone. And right away, though, it is going to be Bids and Denza. They find those first 2 kills, and they're already on B again.
I think you could say the same thing just quickly about PD as well. Not the greatest hard point for him, but this respawn, 17 kills, 16 objective plays. Tilt an extra 1 in the tally column because he finds another elimination there in the Denza. So the first tick of progress will be confirmed here at B. Brezzy was trying to deny, but could not quite get onto the zone in time. Not too much concern here, though, as Team Moon have done well to clear out the point, and An unfortunate self-nade from Denza means that they can actually push a little bit further at the middle of the map now as well.
Prezi just trying to control it, goes down low, loses the battle to Bids, but trade there for Petey as he jumps right down low here again, trying to just get close towards his teammates, pushes right back out. A lot of zoning in towards the middle of the map, and the assassination! Petey is going to be able to kind of pull it off. Don't think the kill goes through, but his teammate there for the trade. So it's those moments too, Alan, where we're like, did he mean to shot punch? Did he mean to go for it? Probably not, but it still looked cool if he was able to get it.
Yeah, we've seen that happen a couple of times. It doesn't make it any less exciting, though. You have to know that will stick in the mind of the Passion members all over the place. First tick of progress is now being built upon as the second tick is quickly starting to make its way. Aroma has shown his gun. Again, if you're joining us here late, Aroma or Terrence, whichever you prefer. Second tick of progress has been confirmed here. And the question is just to Team Moon, do they really even want to go for this? They're going to chalk completely. An interesting play call as you still had a member who was nearby. That's Brezzy in the vent. Bid's aware of it, but can't make good on the elimination. And even though Passion has an ability to get into square, they are being looked at from multiple angles. So there's a lot of clearance that has to happen before Passion can really even get to the A zone.
This kill could end up kind of igniting the push here for themselves. There is the kill for Densis. So they're able to find that first one. Trades there as well. Still good for Passion. Hixie looking to find that opening, but Brezzy in from behind is good there for the kill. Wee Man posted up now, just trying to play his life, capturing the zone, waiting for a bit of a challenge. Has Bids with them, and they have the spawn now in from behind, but there's a pinch from player number 5 right now. Petey could disrupt this entire play. Are they going to expect it? It doesn't look like anyone's ready for it. Petey finds the first one. There is a trade, but still fending off the push from the front is good. Passion looking to try and capture this, but Genesis with 2, Allen, might be able to try and break in towards the zone.
Oh, the decision for Passion is to commit, though, with these last 2 members that are here. It's Wee Man and Bids, and they go 2 for 1. Denza could not quite get over to help. He was cut off the reinforcements from the respawn. Second tick of progress, though, meanwhile, has been confirmed. Bids just kind of toggling between, do I want to play high ground or play onto the point? Now he's got help, so he'll definitely go to the high ground. Oh, my goodness, almost transfers onto 3. Eventually shut down in just barely. Have Team Moon recovered defensively around the A zone, and I say barely because Denza is still existing in their back line.
Denza just, I mean, he's going to give them a lot of information, right? When these spawners start coming out, moving back on towards the map, they have to kind of deal with it. It looks like they are posturing and looking for Denza, especially with the way player 8's playing. Terrence was looking for him, and, well, he's going to find him, but he does find the kill before he ends up getting the kill for himself. Trade there for Petey. Now Wee Man also starting to work in towards the back, but will be shut down from Terrence. Bids in from behind. What can he do? You only got 10 seconds left, and you got to somehow make a move. 4 on 4. No lives remaining. Could get a contest. It's Brezzy and Genesis up top. Brezzy finds that first one. There's the second. Wee Man for the trade. A 2 versus 1. Wee Man finds the kill. Ups on the zone. Secures it and makes sure Passion are able to lock in offense.
I was about to come down on Passion saying we're getting a little too cute through the back with not a lot of lives to work for the actual zone, and the clock started to dwindle. But they find the easy eliminations, and at the end of it, because they cleaned up those last few respawns, they know that the last couple of members that are left have to be around the point. One was sitting top green, one was sitting top sat truck. So the isolation pays off. But if you lose a single one of those members around the back, things could get really dicey because now all of a sudden you're short numbered and you've got not a lot of room to work with and barely any clock. But they do recover, they do find the kills. Wee Man is 26 in 18. Having a massive game, 23 objective plays.
Insane.
I mean, that's unreal.
That is unreal. And I will say also that the big difference for a lot of these rounds has been kind of the breakoffs that have come through for Passion on their offense compared to Team Moon. When Passion are on their offense on the breakoffs, they're getting on the zone right away towards A and stopping this clock, or rather towards B, excuse me. And now we're seeing Team Moon try to do that as well, but they don't have the middle of the map covered and they don't win the initial gunfight. So now you have to battle out of your spawn, wait for each other to move up on towards the map. And this is all chipping away at the clock at the start of this game where you are already 35 seconds in, and Hixie is still pressing forward with Wee Man where they have so much control right now.
This is the first time we've seen a defense even get to this part of the map, if you want to talk about defensive success. Now, that said, Team Moon does really nicely to kind of clear that space. Genesis has a free look at the A zone. It's just Hixie who's nearby, and that Semtex will actually probably get the job done. Or will it? Okay, Genesis still able to find one elimination, but help had arrived for a small time, just good enough to go kill for kill and make sure that Passion's defense has not given up too much ground. So 30 seconds to play. it looks like largely Team Moon will give up any hope towards this A zone. B will be here to stall any defensive rotations from the high ground, but can only walk away with one. And if you can't tell by my candor, that might not be enough. So Terrence has to take up where he left off to try to keep things contested.
Need someone to start getting some of these initial kills so that they can lock down B. 27 seconds on the clock. They just have one player on B. It's happening very slowly, and you have a lot of players up top on green. So at any moment, Passion could look to explode on towards the site if they wish to. And well, with Brezzy finding 2, that might have just solidified the B zone going over. So you'll have about 1:30 to work with. And this is where the difficulty has come through. Team Moon haven't been able to get full control over this zone here, or really been able to work towards bricks too easily. So that needs to change on this hit, because you need to get this offense to send it towards the round number 5. And they're already getting in towards these initial battles. So Pete doing a good job at least zoning a couple players away, not letting them get in from behind. But now you have to make this push happen. You got a minute left.
Yeah, the big pivot player that I'm looking at right now defensively for Passion is number 4 in Hixie. He was sitting front in square. Now he's backed up to keep the cobble areas safe. But that does mean that Team Moon have had a free mantle to get up top. Hixie, what's the decision? You can see he's going back and forth. Are they lights or are they cobble? Are they lights? Are they cobble? Okay, they're cobble. But has to back down just for a moment. It does give Team Moon an opportunity to stage for an approach, but Hixie, well done, keeps the play from behind safe, moves forward. Does he see Petey? Well, he does, but Petey shakes hands maybe a little bit more aggressively than he was looking for, and that will mean that Team Moon's play is still alive, but lives are becoming a bit of an issue. 8 playing up against 12.
This is a big moment right here. Petey, I mean, he's forced to kind of watch the front. He has to rely on Genesis to win the one-on-one. He does. Petey able to add in the team shots here, still playing his life. At first tick, well on its way, but we are getting lower and lower on lives. Team Moon have to start looking for some big plays here, and Petey was trying to make one. It won't happen. Brezzy, what can he do? He is overwhelmed from Passion, and now Team Moon, with 22 seconds left, only have 3 lives left.
Yeah, and this is the right call for Passion. Get aggressive, see if you can just take down these lives individually from behind. Denz is able to get one opportunity to stall out the clock from getting the other. Petey has to be heroic, and, well, he would have to also find a handful of kills. Not gonna happen! So both teams coming into this map mode combination were 0-3. That has changed now for both squads, but still it's Passion just a touch better at the control overall, taking the W 3-1, and it means that they're now up in the series 2-1.
And for me, I think it just comes back to the start of the rounds that we're playing out for the offenses, right? There was just a big difference as far as the start and the breakoffs, and you were seeing that play out there, I think, for Passion. They were just so aggressive, Alan. They were getting on towards that zone at about 1:15 every single time, stopping that clock and just putting themselves in a situation where if they do end up getting all 3 ticks right away, they have over 2 minutes to work with going in towards that next zone, which I think they're really good at being able to break down, find some of those opening kills to break in towards it, and then overall get a tick or two before we saw the defense kind of bounce back there for Team Moon. So that was the big difference. Team Moon, I think, was just struggling to get kind of a foothold on the start of those offensive rounds. Because of it, it cost them a lot of time and really a lot of lives, sometimes as well, where they're fighting for some of those mid-map controls that just weren't swinging their way. So the control good here, and that puts them overall 3-2 for Passion. Still not a win in the game mode for Team Moon, but we know their hard point's good, and that's what we're going back to here, Alan.
Couple of great looks, though. I mean, just to kind of revisit some of the best moments there from our control overall. Again, we only saw maybe one instance where a defense had even pushed forward, and it wasn't until that final round where Passion, off of the initial off-the-break wins, were able to get forward in the middle of the map. So, again, it's one of those things that you take a look at Team Moon. What are they trying to do? Continue to put pressure in the middle of the map? It's been successful for them. It just comes down to those last couple of moments trying to get the offense to kind of clinch things up. Well, that was where it became a bit more unsuccessful. We did have that wonderful, you think you've seen a knife, friend. This is a knife. Almost able to get the execution off, but not going to quite be able to. But a number of heroic moments. I think that's the kind of key is, for Passion, sure, you're happy to have won the map, but could you maybe done it a little bit cleanlier? I think you're going to have to probably put that into effect. I mean, currently you're still flawless, but let's be honest, these guys are looking for a championship, not just be good.
I mean, that's a fair point, right? Like, it's overall, I think, trying to just top up on control and make it as strong as you are in towards Search and Destroy and Hardpoint. And when we start to see some of these squads that get that dominant in all 3 game modes, I mean, it just becomes so difficult to take them, because even if you end up scraping away like a close Hardpoint or a close S&D that you're able to clutch up in, you have to do that maybe a couple times over, and that's not always easy to do against a team that's really consistent. So I think that's really the biggest factor here for them. Things maybe aren't as clean as their other game modes, but at least they still take it away, and they're still in a really good spot here to kind of bounce back from that first hard point. Because if we look back towards that map number 1, they had a strong start. They were able to pull ahead with a good lead off of P1 and put themselves in a really good situation, maybe to hold that lead for the rest of the map. But it was Team Moon, I think, with a lot of the adjustments that came through on towards the second rotations, cleaning some things up, making sure they're always having the numbers advantage, where it felt like towards the money hills, like Garage and Basketball, they were, enforcing that and putting themselves in an advantageous spot to come out ahead. So I think that's really the big factor going in towards this one here for them. If they're able to clean things up, get a lead, make sure they don't lose it, hold on towards it. So that's what we'll look at. But I think both teams have played Garrison a fair amount, Alan. So this maybe should be a good one that might end up getting us to the distance for the round 5.
Very true. Yeah, taking a look at these 5 maps just as a kind of a reminder, not only on what you were saying verbally, but visually, we can take a look at what those scores were. And like you mentioned, it is Garrison coming up next. And Garrison, to be fair, haven't seen Passion play it a lot, but they played Train Hard here and they smoked them 250 to 148. On the other side, though, here's where the news really builds in favor of Team Moon. You talked about their 250 to 209 when on Raid. One of their better maps has been Raid Hardpoint. Arguably, their best hardpoint, though, is Garrison.
Yep.
So the fact that they were able to get both of their hardpoint central comfort picks is incredible for the map design overall when it comes to this best of 5. They've only lost this map once, and it was a close one to a very good Orglis team. It was 221 to 250. Everything else, the other 3 times they've played, 250 to 94, 250 to 170, 250 to 188. Those are definitive score lines overall. Like, a lot of the hard points that we've seen so far in this stage 2 Elite have been 200 plus to 250s. So the fact that Team Moon, even sitting at 1 and 3, could be this solid at hardpoint, and now you're going here versus an undefeated squad in match win-loss record of Passion, you got to be feeling pretty good about it. And looking at what could potentially be that 5th map, it would be Checkmate. No instances that we could talk about for Team Moon overall. Passion, they've only played it once and they got smoked by Orglis. So we'll save that conversation if it's required coming up. But for this Garrison hardpoint, I think the end-all be-all of what we're saying here is you're feeling pretty good about the map selection overall.
Yeah.
For Team Moon.
Great veto process that came through for them. And I think if Passion are going to close this one out here in map number 4, it's got to come off the back end of, I think, Hixie stepping up a little bit. I think he was really one of the big vocal points that I hit on here at the top of the broadcast, for as far as, that player on Obtained, just being absolutely insane with Callum. They were one of the most insane, I feel like, submachine gun duos in Europe, for a very, very long time, especially when Obtained were on top. So I want to see a little bit more from Hixie if they're going to be able to close this one out. He didn't come off the best control, and he came off of an okay map number 1 here. So we'll see if maybe he can bring some of that pressure that he has on the map towards his hard point, because Passion are going to need it if they want to close things out.
Look, all of you numbers brains that are out there, you want to talk statistics. Through all of the cups and elite stage finishes so far, Hixie has averaged top 4.
That's
on
wild.
The year. That's insane. The only players that are better than him are all 4 members for Orglis and the 4 members for Galacticos now. That's it. Outside of that, not being a part of a set 4, he holds the highest overall average placement out of everybody else in Europe. That's unreal. So, yes, you're absolutely right. Keep your eye on Hixie. He's nasty. We'll jump on in. And this is the other kind of key to remember. With no QBZ in Europe,
that's right,
we're going to be likely seeing 1 AR, 3 SMGs. It's also a strong point for Passion that have, against bids coming off the Krig and into a 74U.
Man, he gets info on the first one. Denza tries to take that challenge, and he just needs to back down because they have control on the hill, but PD actually brings the challenge to him. Finds the kill on Denza, finds the second on Zabiz. Genesis gets the third, but it's Hixie, who said we need to step up, able to grab 2, but gonna get overwhelmed for the numbers still here for Team Moon. So they're able to contest a bit of this time, but they're not able to hold on to it, as we see that next push from Passion. They're right back on towards the point, and they're collecting more time on P1.
Yeah, really good start against the Passion, but this time Brezzy does have the ability to try to foil some of this. Not able to find Denza, who, whoa, he snaps onto Aroma as well. That was a 2-for-1 challenge that Team Moon should have came out on top of, but they don't. So now all of a sudden, you've got Denza pushing through the hard point, playing the pinch while the rest of their teammates are on top of Sheen and in the hard point already. And the rotation, not just one, let's go ahead and say what it is, dominated by Passion. Even fighting for the back spawns, I think they may have done enough to at least 50-50 of. And yeah, you see number 3 and Hixie spawns essentially right on top of the hard point because of the play.
I see here. We'll be able to find that easy pickup. The push up top, they might have time to flood in towards the point here. Still 40 seconds to play for. Bade's able to play his life, finds a kill. Assistance is in. Passion are set up. And these are the moments we talk about. Team Moon, you want to hit this one more time. This is a big 35 seconds to go over when you only have 5 points on the board to begin with. So this is a hot start. They're going to make it happen up top. Again, Bids is still on the spree. 4 in a row. As they just cannot break this setup. They're forced to give it up and play the rotation here, Alan. And well, if you're Team Moon, you need a full 60 to come through on this next point, and you are already spawning out on the old hill.
Yeah, and they're not even zoning the exits. Passion have just walked right over through this mid area. Denza in tools. You had Weeman who was trying to play through ammo. Okay. We take a deep breath and we collect ourselves. Those are massive kills for Team Moon to establish themselves. But you can already see they're still not 100% sure where Passion is coming from at the moment. Mitch has kept things interesting, and well, more than that, 6 in a row for him, and says this is the time for an artillery strike. He's got teammates ready to collapse from the front. He's still locking things from the back. No kills from the artillery strike, but you take a look at the minimap. Passion have moved through the hard point and have forced Team Moon to start spawning a bit out.
They have, and Bids is still alive back here, finessing on 6 in a row. He's under a lot of fire, and they're going to be able to finally clean him up. But you have Hixie, who's also next one up here for yourselves, trying to move in towards the point, just contesting the last 20 seconds, making it as scrappy as possible. But Frenzy, he's been able to move up on towards the map a little bit, gets that first kill. Hixie good for the trade to make sure he is not able to force an early setup here or an early rotation for Team Moon. Gonna make sure the engagements do come right through the caution areas. Petey maybe finds an opening there out towards Hixie, can't get the second. Denza good for the trade. So we'll move towards the next hill. Passion back in control, and they're keeping a good zone on all the exits coming off the old hill.
It feels weird to say that this early in the game, this was a big hill when it comes to the overall decider of what's going to happen in this map. Team Moon has to be able to get through dark and find a way to collapse onto this hard point. And so far, not bad whatsoever. A couple of even trades aren't terrible. The problem is you've got Passion members all over the high ground, and that will largely be good enough for them to lock down the initial 30 seconds. And beyond that itself, they've also read where the spawns are for Team Moon. Oh boy, it's getting a little bit out of hand. We'll be looking at around a 100-point game just through the first 4 hills.
Bids, that would have been a nice long-range shot, but Terrence not going to allow that. So you just kind of need every second you can get right now. And if you can force them to keep spawning in towards the back to give you the fast track towards P5, you at least still have enough room to bring this one back, but it's not looking easy. And PD needs to maybe find 2. We'll be able to tag up Bids pretty heavily, but can't bring home the kill in the end as Genesis forced to do it, but he also is going to be taken down. So they're going to lose the initial setup in towards P5 after having good mid-map control, but it's Hixie just ripping them apart bit by bit, gunfight by gunfight. Genesis enters back, but still struggling to get any time as Team Moon.
Hixie is all over the map. I feel like if you're calming for Team Moon, you're just always trying to find Hixie. Where is he? Where is he? Because he's 16 and 11. I mean, that's 27 engagements, not even through the first rotation of hills. He's got 14 seconds of time. So he's finding all these engagements all over the map. And this is a decent moment overall for Team Moon, as they have a very good spawn trap in play. Brezzy trying to be the one responsible for keeping it and enforcing the back, but he will be dropped, but a lot of information for his teammates. PD the next one up, he takes the baton in hand, finds the first elimination, tries for the second, but Wingman will respond, and with that Passion have found an exit from the spawn trap. The scrap time is negligible. It's the fact that you've gotten out of the spawn trap and you've got to look at this first hard point.
Yeah, it's the way they do it as well. Every single time that they are put in these difficult spots to get out of the spawn, when they do it, they absolutely flood it on towards the map together, and then it's about retaking control for Team Moon. So it's not like they can even really salvage a lot of these situations where they have 1 or 2 players up. It's already 15 seconds that has gone over, and now they make the first play. Genesis does bring home the play as he finds 2. Prezi finds the third. So you create now some spacing around this P1 hill where you can look to collect some time. Team Moon by no means are out of this. We've seen lots of teams bring this back through P1 and then transition in towards P2. And with Streets being active and Terrence being on 5 in a row, that could also be a pretty big window to get back in towards this one too.
Absolutely, it does. I mean, this is almost copy-paste from what we saw from Team Moon on Raid. First rotation, a little shaky. First couple of hills were not good. But all of a sudden, it's just like they get one decent hill, it turns into one good hill, and then it turns into one great hill. This is an opportunity to be the great hill coming up here for the Sat Truck and the second hard point. You even got a little bit of pressure from Lights, so I'm sure Petey's not happy with the fact that he couldn't find the elimination on the first little kill that he had lined up. But even still, he's able to find one, and Team Moon have gotten the initial time. Good pressure over the middle of the map. Genesis keeping things dicey over by Square. Will eventually be taken down by Hixie, but I mean, Team Moon with some safe spawns, they're able to get over to try to assist. It's just a little unfortunate as the player we've been talking about, he's literally Beetlejuice at this point. Say his name 3 times, he shall appear. 22 and 14 for Hixie. He's the main reason that Passion were able to break in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he also just 180 Brezzy there off screen too. It's probably best we didn't show that on camera. So he's able to keep this going, Alan. He's really having a game. I talked about him being the X factor, and well, he was obviously listening to the stream because he's really bringing the heat, and you can see how difficult it is for Team Moon to 1, hold on to a setup, 2, break out of the spawn. I mean, Hixie, he's just having his way with them. 1 by 1 they come, 1 by 1 they go. Hixie keeping them back, and he is still finessing, finds another one right there as he is jumping, bouncing, diving, sliding, whatever it is, man. He is just taking over, and now Passion with 190 points here. They could be looking to close this one out if they can actually hold this for a full 60.
He's making me like get immediate flashbacks of like Ruin from Black Ops 4. It looks like he's grappling over doorways right now. He's just all over the place. 205, 129 the score. Passion currently in position to lock things down on the generator platform for our third hard point. Although to be fair, Team Moon do have a couple of opportunities to try to work their way maybe into tools, but Denza reads it beautifully, finds one, turns around for Petey, who was 1 HP. And even though the game cannot complete here, Passion will be pretty darn close. My goodness, Denza just doesn't even miss a bullet out of Genesis at long range. And, well, all of the hopes of Team Moon continuing to be good here on the Garrison Hardpoint, well, their hopes and dreams are fleeting at the moment.
Oh, looking like it could just be done for us here, Alan. You have to hold hills after hills, keeping mid-map control as well, which Denza's already been able to make sure you're not going to have in your control. So this is going to make things extremely difficult. Already on towards New Hill. It's going to be Passion. They're first towards just about every single one. Genesis would have to make a massive play. Does destroy Wee Man up top, but there's just too many players watching over the point. There it is. Passion. They close out the series 3-1 and end this Garrison Hardpoint in dominating fashion.
While you were away the last couple of Visions, did you get like a certification in being like a prophet or some kind of prophecy? Because you talked largely about Hixie. He finished like 29 and 16. Like, who cares about hardpoint time when you're going double positive with the most interactions overall? Brody, welcome back. Good to see you. We had ourselves a couple of tight moments, but in the end, Passion stay undefeated with a dominating map 4W.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, those hardpoint was going to be, I think, the battleground matter, of course, coming into the series. That is that Moon, I mean, that was their best game mode, right? And coming out of the gate, them actually taking map number 1. Hey, maybe this is a chance for them to actually take the series away from Passion. But map number 4, really good showing coming out of Passion. You know, it's such a punishing map, Garrison. If you end up losing 2 hills in a row, it's just such a hard deficit to come back from.
So, getting into the mix overall, we talked again largely about this Team Moon squad, and we're going to say this about other squads here on the day as well. At 1 and 3 with this 4-way tie, with big opponents still to come, including this one here versus Passion. Where in your mind visions are you looking first for Team Moon to sit there and say, you've got to be the top team if you want to avoid relegation? You need to do it by winning this. Is it more pressure in the hard point, just continue to be great there? Or are you looking at maybe instances in that control or the search and destroy and express that's like, okay, some decent moments here, polish these up, find a way to get some W's in the end?
I'm looking exactly at the S&Ds because if you're a weak control team, at least you're only playing the game mode once in the best of 5 that we have, right? Fair. But S&Ds, I mean, we've seen a lot of series, especially this year in Challengers, go the distance, go towards the map 5. So I would look to be polishing things up in towards S&Ds as a whole. And yeah, there were some moments where like, damn, they look pretty good. They had a really slow start. I think that's what really hurt them. And it doesn't feel like maybe there's always these moments where they understand what they should be watching out for, like the 1v3, for example, like through bids. Like those are rounds where it can't happen. And that's maybe a totally different story for that map too, if they're able to keep things 2-1 and they close out that 3v1. So there's those little moments that I think they just have to kind of polish up and get themselves on par. But if I'm looking at a game mode that you have to try and fix, yeah, it has to be the S&Ds. They're solid in the hard points. Even after the Garrison win, I think map 1 was enough for us to say, all right, the squad's pretty good. They took a map off Passion. You just have to clean things up going in towards the S&Ds.
That's fair. On the other front, though, Fitty, just to kind of, again, take the positive side of this coin, talking about Passion, still undefeated. I think that's still in some way a bit surprising, although to be fair, not the toughest opponent necessarily compared to who they've already played in this one. But Passion do have a couple of big games coming up, so put on your coaching cap for a moment. If you're Passion trying to continue to stay flawless through this group stage, where's your attention kind of tilting towards?
Well, first of all, I'd say for the most part, keep doing what you're doing. You know, I think individually speaking, it's just one of these teams where anybody can go off at any moment, anybody can have their moment, and absolutely just send their team to the moon. And honestly, they're good, I think, in pretty much all the game modes at the moment. If anything, the only thing I would say is, you know, try and give yourself a little bit more distance in the control. I think statistically speaking, that has been their weakest game mode thus far. If they can maybe just make sure that everything's really airtight going forward, they shouldn't have any problem facing some of these teams. And go, well, 2 more matches left, and they're going to try and go flawless.
Yeah, take a look at our schedule here as we're getting through this European region. There are a number of other games that are going on currently. Some of those updates, 67K playing up against Elite 2. They are going into map number 4. Elite 2 is currently up 2-1. But coming up next for us specifically, we're actually going to be looking at 67K going up against Los Galacticos, who actually, Galacticos finds themselves in a map 5 versus Connect 4. That one has some major implications as far as what's going to happen at the top of the group. But for Team Moon, their loss here, just to kind of give you the off-graphic schedule, they will be playing up against, who am I looking at? Trainhard coming up next, who Trainhard also fell to Orgla. So those are 2 1-4 squads who desperately need wins versus one another. But for 67K, they are still trying to complete their series as far as you know versus Elite 2. That will be coming up next, playing up against Los Galacticos. So a lot to look forward there. Any kind of resounding thoughts before we kind of set up this match coming up after, I think, this next break when it comes to 67K, who will need to, again, find a win very likely versus Galacticos squad?
Yeah, I think this should be interesting because you have to take away respawns from this squad because I think Rams 1 are just really consistent through just about every single game mode, and I think they look really good in the controls. And I mean, S&Ds, like when they're down, you literally cannot count them out. Like how many times have we seen them like come back in towards a game? I think that you have to come in strong in towards the very first map because, you know, these are players that aren't as known, aren't maybe as skilled as these veterans I feel like that we have, like, you know, Metals coming in, you have Invidian who's really stepped up. There's just so many big names, and as we talk about, you know, that squad Passion being anyone can kind of go off at any given moment, it's kind of the same thing, right, for Galacticos. So I think you have to come in strong, you have to set the tempo, you have to take that first map away, and then keep everything else close if you're going to take these guys down, but it is not going to be an easy road, that's for sure.
Infinity, thoughts before we send things to break?
Oh, yeah, this is going to be one heck of a mountain to climb. You've got to do some record breaking here if you're a 67K. Los Galacticos are just such a good team. I mean, I would go as far to say I believe they are still currently the #1 team here. You've got to remember they only lost to Passion in a round 11, game 5, and that was an attempted reverse sweep from them there. So, you know, and they just won Challengers Cup number 9 as well, and that's not the only Challengers Cup they've won recently. So this is a really, really tough one for 67K, but I think, you know, it is a necessary one as well, right? I mean, 1-3 currently. Unsure how they're doing currently in their matchup right now, but I mean, if they can win this one, if they could take it away from this guy's roster, it would be a huge dub on the way to staying alive here in the round robin stage.
Well, get your fingers stretched, find your VAMOS keys on the keyboard. We got a lot of Vamos coming up as we come back after the break. Los Galacticos will be taking up against 67K on the backside of this break. More Challengers Elite. Don't go anywhere. Hello, everybody, and welcome back as we're getting ready to go with our second slot here in day 1, week 2, stage 2, month 3 of the year. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of other numbers I can throw into that spiel. My whole shift with me is Visions and Infinity. We had a pretty good one in the first game overall there, boys. Team Moon not quite able to get things done, though, versus Passion overall, which leads to Passion being flawless. Team Moon still searching for their second win, a very important one, which, to be fair, boys, we were kind of looking at just the conversation points over some of the squads and their matches kind of going on off stream. A lot of very important maps in which 2 wins might be enough to get you out of relegation, Visions.
That's probably the case for, these squads that are 1 and 3, right? Or now 1 and 4 for Team Moon. You have to get yourself 2 wins, and getting them here against, what might be easier opponents kind of to speak for as far as being lower on towards the standings could be the chance for these guys to still break in towards it. So, yeah, man, the pressure starts to really seep in, right? When we're going in towards all these extra games for the rest of today and tomorrow, and it's either going to show up or you might end up being relegated if not.
Indeed. We do have the ability to look at these standings here really quickly, so we'll bring that up on screen. And Infinity, I just want to get your thoughts here because, again, flawless for Passion. Los Galacticos able to take a map 5 versus Connect 4. It gets them solidly into the second position. And as we get out of the 1 and 3 conversation, it actually leads us into now 1 and 4 conversation. So there's a lot of wins that are necessary, but coming up next in our broadcast, we will be taking a look at that 67K roster sitting there in 7th.
I mean, the comp hasn't really changed that much, to be honest. I talk a bit less maybe about Los Galacticos and Connect 4 now that matchup is done, but still, you've got Team Moon, 67K and Train Hard all sitting there some of the table, avoid. And, now we're around the wire. You've only got 2 matches left for 67K specifically. I think this is a really one, to be honest, Jen. I mean, in your moment, are you going to come into as we are going to win this one? We'll try our best, but it is so hard to mentally overcome the idea that one of these matches you have to win is against those. It's a tough one to win.
Yeah, definitely not an opponent you want to see pop up on your schedule for sure. So with that in mind, 67K going up against Los Galacticos. Let's just stop dancing around the conversation and dig right into it. Visions for yourself. I know we've been following what was the Rams team, now Galacticos, pretty heavily, largely because they forced us to. They looked really good throughout the opening stages of Challengers. They don't really make any roster swaps. They come in, they look great throughout the first stage of Elite. Where's your headspace at when it comes to these 4 Spanish players?
They're still one of the most consistent teams in Europe. And I think Brody brought up a good point and said, listen, they're probably still the best. They lost a round 11 map 5 towards Passion that could have easily went the other way, right? So these guys have been really good in towards a lot of the cups. We, saw them start to pick that up in towards Cup 4. That's when I think this squad really started to come online, and it's come off the back end of Nvidia, and also who's just completely stepped up, I think, in towards this AR role, which has now just made it easier for, the subs to be able to make plays, and allowing Journey and Metals to be able to make plays is not good for anyone that they're playing up against. So it's still a problem to deal with, I think, for a lot of teams because they're pretty consistent throughout just about all of their game modes. But you have to be able to beat these guys in the hard points because these guys are just too good. They're almost always going to take both of them out of the best of the 5 here. So that's a problem. And I mean, if we do take a look at the maps that are coming up here, it might not be easy to take these 2 maps off them either, Alan. We'll have to see what 67K have in store.
And, kind of looking at 67K's standpoint, again, it's difficult, I think, to see a pathway for them to be able to take down a team like Los Galacticos. They currently, at least going into today, they were rated 7th in hardpoint in EU, 6th in search, 7th in control. Not a lot of map wins either. So as we're taking a look forward, Los Galacticos, who currently one of the best hardpoint and one of the best respawn teams in Europe. I mean, in your mind, has just come down to search and destroy specifically. Like, you've got to be able to win map 2. I mean, the thing is, like, you've got to take a respawn somewhere as well. Like, it's difficult to kind of slice this cake up, Infinity, for sure.
Yeah, look, I don't even know where you start, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I don't want to count 67K out of this before we've even got into it, right? I mean, that would just be an amateur mistake. That's rule number 1 at casting, is don't count anybody out until the game is over. That being said, I mean, I'm struggling to even talk about 67K winning anything here before the series has begun. I mean, this is just, it's just so hard to do. I mean, Los Galacticos are one of the best teams in Europe for a reason. They are very proficient in hardpoint. They're very proficient in search and destroy. And hey, they're not that bad at control either. So where do you even start here? I think, if I'm honest, the one advantage that 67K have is maybe that this Formula Rams roster, maybe they won't have researched so heavily in the 67K. Maybe they're not spending as much time on this roster. So maybe you can come out in Search and Destroy with some crazy strategies and surprise them. I don't know. I think that has to be really all you have in your advantage here, is just the element of surprise somewhere in this series.
Well, take a look at these maps overall, just kind of frame things up map by map as we go. Not a great starting map for 67K. I mean, their hardpoint, like I mentioned, not incredible, but their garrison in specific, not necessarily all that great. So you're really, I think, in my mind, looking at raid for the Search and Destroy for map number 2. I feel like for 67K, stay close in garrison. Maybe you can build some confidence, but I feel like you have to take that map number 2 because, to be fair, going to a checkmate control, not bad. It's your best checkmate or your best control map overall. So I would say, at least for the opening 3 maps visions, there's an opportunity that maybe they can take an advantage through 3 maps.
I think there's definitely an opportunity. I mean, yeah, you talk about Garrison, you talk about the sub duo here for that roster, very difficult to deal with. So if you can at least get away with a raid Search and Destroy and then convert on towards a checkmate, and then maybe even a Moscow, which I think this squad has only actually played once here for Galacticos, and I believe they're 0-1 on it. So this is actually a decent map pool overall. It's just about what are you going to be able to do in map 2 and map 3, I think, is really the big takeaways here. And are you going to be able to shut these guys down and Search and Destroy, I think, is here for us. So Infinity and I about to take over. This should be a good one, Brody. We're coming in towards it. We know how good Galacticos can be, but 67K, you talked about it. Maybe they have something in store. Maybe they didn't prep up on them as much, and we'll see exactly what they got in the tank for us.
Yeah, for sure. You're specifically looking at this map. I'm really looking at Nile, to be honest, I think, as the player, the newest addition to the 67K roster to really step things up. Of course, you may remember Nile from Team 3G in Stage 1, that ill-fated roster that didn't maybe have the best run. And now, of course, on the 67K roster, looking to bounce back as we jump into map number 1 in this series. Los Galacticos going to start this one strong. A couple of kills going their way, and they already have control of P1.
Control of P1, and I mean, a setup that is just going to be perfect for P2 as well. You have to kind of break through green and break through the middle of the map. It will be Nile who actually does find that first one here. So Lucky's going to hop off the time, see if he can maybe find a couple of kills. He has denied the opportunity, but Invidian has an AK-74U right now in his back pocket, so he's going to be waiting to see if anyone funnels through green for him. Meanwhile, Metals responsible for watching the push in from behind here with his 2 teammates. So they're going to try to flood in towards the back. Infinity will find the first one, maybe even the second, as they are 4 strong, and this is actually looking to be a good push, and they will find all 3 and can look to flood to the hill.
I do really like this play coming in from 67K as they look to flood in from behind, but Invidian is here. He's able to deal with one, has the support from Metals up top green as well. Invidian looking for it, but a nice couple of kills coming in from Nile and Nuke J. Beans follows up with another one as well, and that is a good break from 67K here. With 25 seconds left on the hill, though, you start to really take a look at this rotation from Los Galacticos. This is really time that they're going to give up. I think the rotation more important at this point.
Nile here on 4 in a row. Getting streaks could be what salvages this deficit, but they are starting to bring it back. Good shots there from Nile. That puts him on 5. Reads the flank, but Journey has none of it. Finds himself 1. Make that 2. Big double up for Journey. That will create enough space to make sure that Galacticos does get on towards the hill first. Nuke J has to deal with Metal before he can press forward. He will be able to do so. And as we see this push start to ignite, Brody, you want to see if you can maybe break this on the first attempt so that you don't let this lead get a hand early.
There's a break needed here from 67K as they look to come in from behind. Invidian is at the back line. Nile's going to be well aware of that. 67K actually broken in. Los Galacticos, though, still spawning out the back here. We do see a road spawn coming in from Metals, so he's not going to be around to help. Lovely kill from Nile. Nuke J elsewhere on a 6 spree as well. So 67K do have streaks in the pipeline. I think Nuke J will actually have 1 at the very least now that he's on a 7 spree. 67K still looking to hold on to this time, but Lucky trying to put a stop to it. Has actually managed to filter on through. Saiyan doesn't know he's there. Nuke J, though, able to get number 8. That is most definitely double streaks for him. Los Galacticos is going to get the last few scraps of time, but 67K, they did a good job there at breaking that hard point.
Yeah, they really did, and it's only about 20 points differential here between both squads, so not by any means out of your control, but we want to see them maybe convert with some time on towards this next hill for us, as Beans is caught in a pretty awkward situation. He's got everyone in and around him, and Journey will clean up yet another one here. So space, once again, around the hill. stand though. Chance maybe to be able to open things up. Good for one. Journey again, just finding these little slip throughs, being able to make sure that they don't have numbers in and around the hill. NukeJ controlling in and around this middle bridge at the moment. Might be able to kind of just create some space here for his teammates to soak up some time. 25 seconds left on the clock. 67K finally on the time. A good 20 seconds to get, but Los Galacticos, they answer right back as they'll find 3 in a row.
Los Galacticos inside this hard point at the moment, looking to soak up this last 15 seconds of time. For them, though, at the moment, again, more focusing on just cutting the map, making sure that 67K don't get past that middle line. They know they're still spawning around artillery, around the generator hard point. And now it's going to be about cutting them off, making sure they cannot get to P5. Nvidia in the mid-map is going to pick up one, turns around for NukeJ and Beans over towards Caution. Unfortunately, unable to win those gunfights. And now Los Galacticos inside the hard point, looking to soak up some time. 67K coming on through mid. Nile going to win that gunfight. Metals looking for some over towards platform. 67K just trying to find your way in. They've got control of green. Metals, though, what can you do? Able to pick up yet another one. Now starting to heat up in this game.
It's heating up here for himself, and that is a problem that you have to try and deal with early if you are 67K. Top green we go. Metals will go as well, finding himself now 3. Just look at the spacing right now. I mean, you have a player sitting in the hill, you got bricks control, you had green control until Metals just ended up falling down, and you've now grabbed the majority of the time in towards P5 just by being able to manipulate the spawns. They can just control a lot of the map at the moment. NukeJ, the last one up, he will fall. That is a full 4 down before the new hill is going to pop. You're down over a hard point, Brody. This is where we talk about needing to get some crucial time if you're going to be able to contest this first game.
Absolutely, it is. You do not want to be down by about 100 points or so in this game. And here you're going to start to see the streaks coming in from NukeJ. Will be able to take down Journey on outer, but honestly, it's not going to have that much of a bearing. It will push Los Galacticos outside of the hard point. Lucky inside Lights, though. Looking to play advanced guard and get these opening gunfights. He will get the second. Good kills coming out now from Lucky, and that streak from NukeJ, unfortunately for 67K, hasn't done all that much, to be honest. Los Galacticos still soaking up this time, still earning all of the gunfights where they need to, but Journey, the last man standing, see what he can do for this scrap time. There's 20 seconds left. He's actually going to fall, and this is an important wave of gunfights from 67K for the rotation.
Oh, the spawns every time, though. I mean, Los Galacticos, they are just always in a good position. You need these gunfight wins here for 67K. NukeJ, he's been really the top fragger right now with 17 and 10 on another spree. Has an artillery in his back pocket if he decides to use it at any given moment. And, well, they are going to be able to at least fend off the push here. They find 2 onto Los Galacticos, so this puts them in a pretty decent spot. Still finding kills as Nile gets himself 1. NukeJ going to find the easy pickup. That's 4 in a row for him. Still staying alive, playing his life, doing everything he possibly can to keep them in the game. The challenge there for Metals, no good. NukeJ still 5 in a row. Has the support, the reinforcements constantly coming off the spawn, and this has been a great hold for the first 30 seconds.
NukeJ, once again, on another streak. He is taken down this time before he can overlap his streaks, but of course, hasn't used that artillery strike just yet. This last 25 seconds or so, depending on this 1 versus 1, could well go Los Galacticos' way, and it will do. So the last 15 seconds for Los Galacticos, that is time that 67K will be rather frustrated with giving up, but they know it's a necessary evil. They've got to rotate over towards New, and that is exactly what they've done. But Journey and Lucky looking to break on early here. You've got to deal with NukeJ inside the backline. He has been a problem for Los Galacticos in this game. Really the only one, but Journey deals with him with ease. You can see Los Galacticos, they make their way around the back. They win all their ones, and they are right into this hard point. A very quick break, and that is not good for 67K.
It's really not. I mean, if you look at the way they set up, they were just, you know, too far apart. A couple players in the middle of the map that didn't actually end up reading maybe where everyone was for Los Galacticos. So they're just able to kind of slip on through, use their numbers, and yet you have to use streaks here if you're NukeJ to make sure that this game is not going to be out of hand. NukeJ able to grab 1 with the artillery, 1 with his gun. That gives time for his subs now to press forward as Nvidian is going to be in towards the back. He falls. Lucky the last one up with about 20 seconds left as Los Galacticos likely just going to look to set up here for this new hill, or maybe even give this grab time 1 good hit as they just flood on through. They'll win the battles. They want to keep forcing the spawns in towards the back, so they'll press forward here 1 more time.
67k, well, they are going to get a few seconds there off the back of that, but again, it's just this lead that's been built up from Los Galacticos. 67k trying to put a dent in it. They've no longer got streaks to work with, and you need to break in because Los Galacticos, they are quickly approaching that 250 point mark. But what a great wave of kills coming in here from 67k. They're able to break on through. Los Galacticos now spawning out over towards bricks. Not the worst position in the world here, but this needs to be a good hold from them. Staying inside. Unfortunately, he is going to fall now on Nuke J. He's able to pick up one, turns for the second. Journey going to win it. Trades coming on through. Nobody able to just get in the hard point just yet, but that's not a loss for Los Galacticos. They're not giving any time to 67k, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, Metals is just happy, you know, sitting on top of his time and just collecting everything he possibly can. Lucky also getting a lot of time here for his team. Going to be able to fight for the last 15 seconds, but it might just go the way of 67k unless Journey has something to say about it. But instead, it's Metals who finds an opening. Journey takes down a teammate, but will find one in return, maybe even a second as he goes for the chow. Does get the kill. Trade there for Nuke J, but damage has been done. I mean, look at how far they are from the point, and you're going to have Los Galacticos here again with the trophy setup, ready to go in towards what could just be the final nail into the coffin on this P5 hill.
Could well indeed. Los Galacticos looking to close it out here on this P5 hardpoint. They're in control for now. Beans looking to say something about that. Unfortunately, isn't able to do that much. Los Galacticos going to jump out of the hardpoint to try and get some of these early kills. And some split spawns coming in here from 67k as one player does spawn out all the way behind. But it is Los Galacticos still earning some time. Finally, Nuke J able to pick up two before falling. Nile comes in with a trade. So 67k have broken in for this last 20 seconds or so. But this is just so tough for 67k. They have to play perfect hardpoint here, Austin.
Well, they do, and this is just in a moment where you need people to start going off. We have Saiyan, who has not had the best of games right now. He was just about 7 in 25. Does put himself on 3 in a row now. But is it too late? It's going to be the question. We'll make a rotation to at least one more hill. Could still be ended for Los Galacticos, so that's the problem now where you have to make sure that you're conscious about how much scrap time you are giving over if it is being given over in the first place. And now Saiyan might be able to work for streaks here, Brody. There is a silver lining for as far as being able to chain P1 and P2 together. We've seen that happen many, many times throughout Cold War. It's just a matter of can Saiyan actually get himself streaks?
Indeed, this would be a hell of a turnaround for Saiyan on a 5 spree at the moment, looking to play his life. He has a huge play on his hand. He's able to get one, looks away for the second, unfortunately doesn't aim in the right place. Journey shuts down those streaks at a crucial moment, and 67k, I mean, technically speaking here, Austin, they could still well lose it on P1. Metal's now inside the hard point, Invidian there also, and the first couple of gunfights do go Los Galacticos' way. 67k, I mean, you've got a player on rotation, but that's not the problem here for 67k. Unfortunately, they're unable to do it. Los Galacticos, they have a great game there at the end of that hard point.
Oh, man. It was looking good there for a moment. You could see the early rotation coming through. I think it was Nile who had to say, listen, guys, I got to concede the P1 time. You guys have to win that in the 3v4 situation because there's no way we're going to be able to break in towards the new hill fast enough if the setup is, in fact, intact. So they make the right call. It's just it doesn't exactly pay off because the gunfights aren't won there. So 67k, they fall short in the map number 1 here for us, Brody, which is kind of what we were expecting, right? Los Galacticos maybe gave them a little bit more breathing room than we were expecting for as far as that first initial game, keeping it close, bringing it back after the lead they had built up for themselves through the first and second rotation. But it's the map 2 and the map 3, I think we have to see this team shine. And if they can bring some more of what we got out of that one, then maybe there's a chance to do so. But we will take a look at the replays and kind of see some of the highlight plays that did take place in that very first map for us.
Yeah, and I presume we're going to see a little bit of Nuke J here as well. I mean, he had, what, 2 separate streaks? It's just one of those really unfortunate things, isn't it, when you have a great game and, well, sometimes the rest of your team just doesn't, and that was absolutely the case there for Nuke J on 67k. But for Los Galacticos, again, it's, well, pretty standard stuff from them. Invidian 15 and 5, you can see him there going absolutely off, has one hell of a game. The rest of his team also having a great game, I think, generally. Los Galacticos, I mean, it's just one of those things, right? When they come out the gate swinging, there's only so much you can do. One thing I would say, though, Austin, you know, you never want to single out a single player, right? You never do. But saying on a map like Garrison, he has to have a good game. He is a crucial player here on this map, and unfortunately, he just didn't.
He didn't, and I mean, like this trick right here from Saiyan as well. Like it's just those moments where It's the slow starts, and the slow starts are going to hurt you, especially when you're playing up against teams like Passion, Los Galacticos, right? They're going to be punishing because of how consistent they are throughout the majority of their maps and their matches. So yeah, that makes things just, ever so difficult when you have your ARs who are doing pretty well. And Nuke, I think someone that we've even seen throughout some other qualifiers, right, Brody? We're like, this guy's, kind of holding some eyes. He's drawing a lot of attention for as far as what he brings and what he does. So it's definitely, a squad that you can work with, especially with the back end of Nile being one of those more explosive SMGs and towards the scene that can complement that AR pressure. But it's making sure everyone is consistent if you're going to be able to take these top squads down. So they keep things close, which I think is the biggest factor for as far as the morale going in towards the rest of the best of 5 here. So there is something to take away. But yeah, we have to go in towards what is now going to be a search and destroy. Rams haven't maybe been as consistent as past for as far as stage 1. So you might be able to exploit them here in this game mode, as I think they're holding a current negative record, but it will be a raid search that we go into next, Brody, to see if we will in fact get a bounce back from 67K.
Yeah, and I think going into this one, what I said at the start of this, right? Raid, search, and destroy for 67K for them here. I think this is just one of those maps where you kind of just have to try and take Los Galacticos off guard. You really do just have to come out with some crazy, wacky strats that Los Galacticos are not going to expect, because playing this one by the book, I don't think it's going to work, to be honest. Los Galacticos are a very good team in search and destroy. Their team play is one of the best here we have in European challenges. There is a reason that they have a really good record here at the end of stage 1 in search and destroy, and that hasn't changed coming into stage number 2. So, look, 67K, they could still well win this, but honestly, they're going to have to pull off something out the bag. Something crazy, something unexpected. That is what needs to happen here in Raid, Search, and Destroy.
It does, in fact, need to happen. And I think this map has really developed, throughout Cold War since being added in. We've had a good amount of playing time on it now, as much as we're getting a lot of different search and destroy maps kind of brought in towards the set that we currently have right now in S&D. This is definitely one I think most teams are willing to opt into just by the way it plays, right? Both bomb sites, easily able to attack, able to put yourself in spots where if you get that bomb down, you can play from post setups from, Laundry, or whether that's going to be top pool house. There's a lot of different ways to be able to play offense on towards this map. I think it more or less comes down to the defense, and I think the biggest thing that we've seen, Brody, is really through challengers as well as CDL, is kind of get 2 players in towards the middle of the map and then be flexible for as far as what site you're able to reinforce based off where your teammates are trying to retake from if a bomb does end up getting planted. It just gives you a lot more versatility to be able to cut the map off very, very quickly. So I think that's something we've seen really develop, and sometimes teams are willing to challenge it, right? Where we've seen kind of like 3 or 4 man mids kind of happen on towards offense, where you're just not maybe expecting that to happen a few rounds in, and it's maybe those type of plays that 67K might need to pull out of the hat for as far as throwing this team off guard and being able to get away with a win.
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things here, right? You look at Los Galacticos as a roster and what they do so well in Search and Destroy as a team. It is literally that. It's playing as a team, reacting to stuff as a squad. And of course, I think it does also help that when they need to play individually, when they need to make those one-on-one plays, Los Galacticos, they have the power. They really do have the confidence to make those plays work. So, well, 67K, this is what they have to do. They have to pull something special out the bag here in game number 2 to beat a team that is on form, 4-1 in stage 2. Going into this one, we'll see if they're able to make it 5-1. We're in the Search and Destroy, Austin, and Los Galacticos right away with that aggression. But here's a counterplay coming in from 67K. It's a good attempt, but the bomb is down.
Yeah, the problem is the bomb's down, and yeah, it's a 4-man tight setup by Laundry. Like, look at those 4 arrows. Like, everyone just meters apart from each other. It's going to be very difficult to break, especially if we see, player 6 here trying to get in from behind. And it looks like things are swapped at the top, so keep that in mind. But it will be trades here for both sides. Now the retake coming through. Galacticos up top. It's going to be Metals and Journey, both finding kills. They will take a very successful retake, as it will be Los Galacticos here on the right, finding themselves the very first round.
Yeah, that threw me for a loop for a second. Apologies, guys, for calling it the wrong way around. For us, the wrong way around. Of course, you guys can see it correctly. Ignore what you see on screen, though. Of course, 67K did not end up winning that round. It was Los Galacticos. And actually, you know what? I mean, it was a late play from Los Galacticos that was able to work out. But, I mean, the confidence to just go straight for it, right? That's what you love to see from Los Galacticos. It's pretty standard for them at this point in Search and Destroy. It works out pretty well as they're able to take a 1-0 lead here. Switching sides. 67K going to be on the defense now. See what Los Galacticos are able to do.
Looks like an attempt right over towards B. This time a little bit slower than how we saw 67K kind of move in towards this side on their first offense, but they might be reading a flank right away, and Invidian finds that first one. They know one more is back here by the way Lucky is playing, but does he read him inside of the weight room? That's the question. The timing for Lucky, not great. Staying able to get himself a kill, but can he get out alive? Pressure is on. We'll be able to play his life for a second, and now it's going to be Los Galacticos in a 2v3.
Oh, good play from Journey. Completely unexpected there for 67K. Beans had no idea that was what Journey would do. And now the quick rotation. You talked about it coming into the match, Austin. It's happening. Los Galacticos have planted the bomb on A. NukeJ, is he aware of it? He does spot out Journey. Journey going for the ego chow. NukeJ ends up winning it though. Leaves Invidian a 1 versus 2. Is able to pick up 1. He's looking the wrong direction though. Saiyan plays the 50-50 perfectly. Is able to win this round. And it was a good attempt, I will say that much, from Los Galacticos. The very quick rotation, they made it work, but it was a good reaction coming out of 67K.
Saiyan with a big round here. I mean, 2 kills on the board. He finds that one on towards the back there, on towards Lucky as well, and then plays his life and makes sure he's able to stay up for his teammates. That's one of the big factors, and it's just a good route that comes in from the back where they retake from basketball. The common spots that we're going to see people, playing for post plants is either going to be top pool or back basketball. So they read things correctly. They find the kills. It comes through beautifully here for them, and they're able to bounce right back on towards the board here. Now 1-1 as we'll see exactly what they have in store for this offense for us. Last time, it was a very aggressive hit towards B. They wasted no time, got the bomb down immediately here for Laundry. This time around, it might be doing either the exact same thing or starting to work in towards the middle.
This is very aggressive straight from the mid here. NukeJ able to pick up 1. Look at Journey. He is about to face the wrath of 67K, or maybe not here, actually. I think they're repositioning, go straight for the ring, and Lucky now is the player that has to deal with this aggression. Nile ends up taking that kill. Now a 2 versus 4 for Invidian and Journey. Journey's able to get 1. The second as well. Saiyan just looks the wrong way around the wall, and this quickly turns into a 2 versus 2, but NukeJ tips the balances in their favor, and it's going to be 67K coming out with the round win. It was a little bit shaky, but they make it work.
It's the middle map push too. It's funny, we framed it up going into the matchup like, what are they going to have to do, right, to kind of throw this squad off? And well, I guess that is not the answer, because they're able to respond with it at the back end of just what was an insane mechanical play here from Journey, just being able to flip and turn around in time to get that second kill, putting him now 4-2. But NukeJ carrying his performance over from that very first game is enough to be able to make sure that they don't allow Journey to get an ace. And they will be able to come out here with a 2-1 lead. So back towards offense. Los Galacticos again on the right, looking to start to make some mid-map moves themselves, as it's going to be no one really contesting the position inside of P5, but could just give him a fast track towards B. Lucky doesn't want to drop the bomb with his teammate just yet. They're now going to push up, get some control. Journey will in fact drop it, and now we'll see if they can hold on to the setup.
67K, they've got 2 players over towards Laundry. It's going to be Lucky, though. That is over there. Invidian has a player to win. Oh, it's an execution! Execution out of nowhere from Invidian. Able to pick up Saiyan. And now the numbers most certainly in favor of Los Galacticos. Beans, the last player left alive here. He is dead to rights. But hello, Invidian. That was out of I don't think he even meant to do that.
No, we get to see it again too. Yeah, it's just that moment where you go for the shot punch, and yeah, it just lines up for the execution there, and then he actually transitions into a second kill. Oh man, those moments are so fun. I feel like they've been happening more and more as well, Brody, where we've just been seeing them kind of come through, and it's got to feel good as a player to kind of get it, even if you weren't ending to do it. So Invidian bringing home 2 in the round, and that's also going to tie things up here at 2 apiece.
Oh man, crazy execution coming out from Invidian. Good play from Los Galacticos. They're able to tie this one up. Now 67K on the offense. They're chosen once again for your old faithful, straight towards B. Invidian and Lucky just going to have to back up away from this one. Elsewhere, Journey's able to pick up Beans inside Zig. So now 67K going to have to get this bomb down. A man down. They're facing pressure from both sides of the map. They're definitely feeling it as well, Austin.
They are, and they need a kill. You got to push to one side, but Journey going to make things that much more difficult. Trades go back and forth. The collapse is good. Galacticos, they will now take the lead 3-2, just with a beautiful collapse coming through. And yeah, this big kill from Journey just makes sure that Zayn, he's not going to be able to move in towards his teammates and find any kind of a trade. And then the long range shots just being one shot there for Journey. Easy pickup for the double. Good collapse. We've seen that now a couple of times towards the B site where they're able to play for the retake here pretty convincingly. And there hasn't really been a setup that can shut these guys down so far for 67K.
Los Galacticos, I mean, they're just, winning some first bloods here, there, and everywhere, and really, 67K haven't had that much of a response. But this time around, 67K, they don't even win the first blood, they win 2. That shuts down Journey, he was on for streaks also. Lucky, yeah, Beans is on one at the moment. He gets 3 in the round. Lucky now left up in a 1 versus 4. Able to pick up the first kill, but they are aware of where he is. If he can get Nile, this will become a manageable situation.
Now just going to back down. Realizes he doesn't need to go for the chow. I mean, with all the players dying in and around B, you could almost assume that the bomb's probably down. Nvidian's not really, or rather, excuse me, Lucky's not really the bomb carrier here for this squad. So might give you enough confidence to say, listen, we're just going to stack by B, force Lucky to make a play. And he is forced to make a play here soon. Coming down to about 35 seconds left. There's going to be a player up towards his left and then a double stack inside of Art on the ramp. This is not easy to dissect and break, but he's got to find his first one onto Nile before anything ends up happening. 20 seconds now, and Lucky maybe not moving at a fast enough pace to really make this happen. He is spotted out, almost turns on Nile, but in the end the kill comes through, and we are now tied right back up.
I feel like with Lucky there in that 1 versus 3, it wouldn't have been exactly wrong to have David Attenborough commenting over it, to be honest with you. He was playing so slowly. It was like a snake in the grass. But to be fair, 1 versus 3, that was kind of out of his reach anyway. I think Saiyan has actually left the game, I believe, so we're probably going to see a restart here. Yeah. Start at 3-3. But so far, overall, 3 for 3. It's been a very close search and destroy. To be fair to 67K, we're seeing some really good gameplay out of them. Bean specifically, I mean, in that second to last round there, able to pick up 3, essentially leaves it, and a 1 versus 3 for Lucky.
I mean, they're matching the pressure. I think that's what we wanted to see. We wanted to make sure that they weren't just going to come in and just whitewash them, right, and just kind of blow them out of the water, go up 2-0, and likely kill any confidence and morale they had going in towards the checkmate. So I think this is a really good showing, at least for them, and they are doing some different things, man. I think that's the biggest takeaway. It's like they're not just going for what is standard, where it's like just go towards A, get the bomb down, play for a post plan, do the same thing by B, play for Laundry. Like, they are trying to do some different things, some different setups, some really tight 4 setups that we saw there by Laundry, 4-man pushing towards the middle of the map. I think they're reacting really strong on towards defense as well, where they're finding some kills. So if you can just kind of match the squad here, Galacticos, in search and destroy, and be able to have a couple of players who are popping off, which NukeJ is doing again, then you put yourself in a good spot to still close this one out here. And I mean, I feel like we really do have to highlight what NukeJ has brought towards the table so far, Brody, where he has been able to just take over, find these moments where he's been able to pop off and be extremely explosive. And that is now also maybe a problem, as Beans got some of that going in towards that last round too.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about NukeJ generally. I think, he's one of those players this season that a lot of people doubted him, right? I mean, coming into stage number 2, I think he has so much to prove. And he's done that in spades. He looks like a really good player at the moment. He's playing the game extremely well. And in his particular role, I think he brings so much to this team. He's definitely a player I think looking forward to look out for generally. As is, of course, Beans, playing in his role, he looks really good. And Nile, of course, who unfortunately did fall out of Team 3G with everything that happened at the end of stage number 1. It's completely understandable that did happen. And coming into this, actually, it's kind of funny. On paper, you'd imagine that this is a massive downgrade for Nile, right? And you could still technically argue that it is, but I think Nile is perfectly happy on this roster. I think if anything, it's kind of like you found a diamond in the rough, right? To really shape in your own way. And most certainly, Nile is playing a big part on the roster, no doubt in my mind, in that sort of leadership role to make that one happen. So overall, this roster does look pretty good at the moment. They still have quite a lot to do, though.
They do
take out Los Galacticos.
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of frame these guys up is a lot of potential. Like a lot of potential, a lot of great individuals. It's being able to match the team play that every other team seems to have right now at the top for as far as Europe. That is not easy to do because a lot of these guys have either been playing with each other for a super long time, or you're like Galacticos, who were previously Rams, who have been together since the start. So their chemistry and vibes, I'm sure, are absolutely unmatched for just about any other team. And beating them through pure skill is sometimes the way you have to kind of take these guys down based off how consistent they are. So yeah, looking for these pop-up moments that NukeJ at least has been bringing to the table is something that you can kind of take as your silver lining and say, all right, like we can at least battle these guys, round for round, hill for hill. It was a pretty decent map. Number one, it was just a slow start. This time it's at least a little bit stronger, so enough maybe to push them through all the way. And as they do lose their teammates as well, they can kind of discuss right now and talk about, listen, this is what they're doing right now, this is how they're playing the map, this is how we can look to counter it. So there's at least maybe moves that they can also come back in towards the second half of the search and destroy with that might be even able to throw them off for as far as a map win.
Yeah, for sure. I think for both of these teams, right, even Los Galacticos, I think even they at the moment are more thinking about sort of how they can posture around what 67K have been doing. Because obviously before, I think we kind of come into the series and we're of the assumption at the very least that Rams would not necessarily be able to breeze through this, but I don't think it would be that mentally taxing of a series for them. I think now, though, in this search and destroy being free for free in terms of round count, I think now they're going to have to think about it a little more, try and work around what 67K have been doing. And that's not to say we haven't seen unique strategies coming out from them. I mean, round number one, for heaven's sake, we saw Los Galacticos go straight for a long flank all the way round, and they were able to make that play work. So I'd like to see more of that coming out from Los Galacticos here. And for 67K, again, what we've been saying throughout this entire series so far, just try and play your own game, really try and, I think, throw off Los Galacticos here with some crazy strategies of some kind, and really just raw aggression. We've seen that from Beans as well, right? I mean, if you're that three-piece, for Beans, over towards ringside, that was huge in that particular round. So if we can see more of that coming out here from 67K, hey, this search and destroy might not be such a bad go-around for them either.
It might not be. For anyone just tuning in, just having a bit of a restart for as far as map 2 as things are tied 3-3. But if you missed map number 1, Los Galacticos, of course, came out with that one 250 to 183, putting on a nice showing for as far as what we got at a journey in that game. And he's been able to carry that in towards at least the first 6 rounds there for us, in towards the raid, search, and destroy as well. But we've been hyping up a couple of the players that we wanted to see something out of. And, well, they're starting to deliver at the very least. It's just, can they keep it going? Can they get enough towards a map win? Because if we look at the overall maps that we have here on the table for us, the Checkmate is the chance that they also have, for as far as being able to secure themselves a map. They're pretty strong on Checkmate control. And then, getting yourself towards a Moscow as well. That's something that Rams are 0-1 on. So if you can get this map number 2, there is absolutely a chance to be able to take this series. But we are moving back in. I would certainly imagine we're going to be starting from 3-3, and that is confirmed. We will be starting at 3-3, just back in towards the game to see exactly who's going to be able to take this one home here, Brody.
We are indeed. 67K going to start on the offense here, as we would expect. Los Galacticos right off the off. Going to have to go for a retake. You've got players positioned for this. This is going to be a tough one to win. You've got to take out Beans from Bedroom. That's going to be a power position they're going to want to deal with. And Metals does take down one. Infidian deals with Beans. As I said, that's the prerequisite really for taking this bomb site back. And now a 2 versus 3. NukeJ inside. Tiki facing down. Lucky going to win that one. Saiyan now left alive. 25 seconds on the clock. They have zero idea where he is. Well, now they know. Lucky has spotted him out. There's a player around him also. Metal should finish him off. Yes, they will. Enough time for Los Galacticos. And that was a good retake from them.
Yeah, I think that Los Galacticos retakes have just been, out of this world. And it's come off the back end of them having good middle map control, something we said that they like to do, keeping 2 players in towards P5 so that they have the ability to flex to either side based off where the teammates are on the map so that they can play for the retakes. So they just flood through the middle of the map, come down open stairs, find that kill, and just slowly but surely start to figure out the positions and just secure the eliminations there. So they are now up 4-3. This would be a big round for 67K to make sure things aren't going to go 5-3 here and put themselves on that point. Want to try to get things tied up here 4-4 as they'll shut things down on defense if they can. But bomb brought towards the middle. This looks like Los Galacticos will just be trying to slow things down a bit, see if they can play for a pick, and then work with some information and attack a bomb site.
I do like this from Los Galacticos, actually, just to slow up the pace a little bit. You don't want to
1 HP.
get taken out early on. Yeah, 1 HP for Metals. He's going to slip away. Beans in that exact same position again as well, so almost explodes the round. Lucky, though. Looking to play Beans. If he can get this opening kill, this would be huge to open up the bomb site, but Beans is going to get it. Big first blood for him. He is continually doing it in this position on the defense. Now 45 seconds left in the round. Los Galacticos looking to get this bomb down.
And it's not going to be easy until you find a kill. You don't have middle map control, you don't have launch control, so you can't really safely plant this bomb until you either take away one or the other. Nile just waiting for information. I think he sees the legs there of Metals as they push in towards Laundry. Beans is feeling the attack, but he's dealing with it with NukeJ and his teammate Nile by his side. Metals would have to get a 1v4 in 20 seconds. Does find 2, but there still should be a trade up top of the Riz. 67k. They answer right back. Laundry control. Too damn good, Brody, as we're all tied up here at 4 apiece.
I thought for a second that Metals was going to do it. You know, after he gets this 2-piece, I thought, yeah, hang on. Hold on a second. Let's just hold it up. But it's okay. Metals does end up falling there 4-4 again. And it was just that opening kill there from Beans that really did slow up that push. It's just, if Los Galacticos were on those B pushes, they can take out Beans. The bomb site is effectively theirs, but unable to do it this time around. 67k. Gonna tie things up here. And now, oh, look at this play from them. They've sent 3 players over towards B to give the impression that it is going to be a B hit. The bomb is instead over towards Bedroom. Unfortunately for 67k, though, Metals and Journey, they're ready for such a play. They end up drawing both First Bloods, and now a horrendous position for 67k as NukeJ and Beans, they have to make some individual efforts here.
Oh, they sure do. And NukeJ, I mean, he's been good. Even after the restart, 3-1, just about 2 rounds in. But someone has to make a play individually, and Los Galacticos not really giving them a chance to. It's maybe finding a pick and money, but maybe Beans finds an opening in towards the middle of the map here. He's going to have to read 2 players. Spots Metals. First kill there is good. Tries to slip away as he's going to draw the attention of Journey. NukeJ still not with him. Second gunfight good for Beans. Snaps on Journey. Now it's 2 versus 2. Beans giving out some shoulders. I think he gets info on another one, and they do it, Brody. 2 versus 4 is 67k, now up 5-4 in map number 2.
I'll tell you what, I want to know what Beans is eating today. That is 100% what I need to know right now. Beans is just on one. He gets 3 kills here, 3 huge kills as well. This second one, I have actually no idea how he does it. Snaps on a Journey in the third one also. Dude, he's got some wide shoulders. Just look at it. Crazy play there from the 2 players from 67k. Massive clutch, and that could well mean victory here as they break serve. They end up winning an offense. And now Los Galacticos, they got to win an offense here. Can they do it?
To be the answer, as Beans gets info on 1. He isn't back Laundry like he typically is. That's now up to NukeJ to try and hold on to it. Lucky, though, he gives a peek to Beans. And, well, if you give him a peek, you better be prepared to take the gunfight, as Beans absolutely will. That puts him now on 4 in a row. Los Galacticos, they are now down 1 member with a minute left on this clock and somehow need to try and work for a point.
Now we're going to pick up another one as well. So now Los Galacticos, they need a 2 versus 4 of their own. Bomb down. That's going to give them the 3rd man on the minimap. But I don't know if they're aware that NukeJ is in jungle. Wrap around coming in from Metals. This could be huge. Journey has a 1v1 against NukeJ to win also, but they have 0 idea where Metals is. He's going to get Beans. Looks to get the hell out of dodge. Will try to do it. Unable to. But Journey has won his 1v1. So now 1v2 for Journey. A preemptive Semtex coming on through. He's facing the pressure in from behind. Nile closes the door on this search and destroy for a 67k. What a performance from them in those last 3 rounds. Austin. Oh, they look good.
They look good in S&Ds, Brody. They sure do. That is going to be a wrap for map 2. Man, I mean, like, there's just so many moments that you look back on and think, like, the ARs on this lineup are just so devastating, and there's a lot of moments that we get here throughout this entire map number 2 that just shows what they bring individually. I mean, Beans, 3-piecing Galacticos at the start of that round number 6, I think it was, and then we go in towards, what was, a few other rounds there, and they're able to do the exact same thing off individual plays, right? So just big moments coming through. That's what we talked about, that you kind of need to be able to take this squad down, because there's so much teamwork, so much chemistry involved with Galacticos team. You have to be able to beat these guys sometimes individually. It takes those heroic moments here and there, and that's what we get a lot of in map 2. So now maybe momentum shifting over towards this squad. And I mean, this is just moments that you love to see from the 67K roster because a lot of people counted them out in the series.
To be fair, I did. I honestly, I absolutely did count out 67K. I did not think they were going to win a map here. I genuinely thought this would be a 3-0. Rams have looked so good recently, but great performance from 67K. And honestly, I mean, this game generally was pretty much just it was normal search and destroy, right? Teams winning their defense.
Sure.
But that 2 versus 4, that flipped the entire game on its head because they broke serve, they won their offensive round, and then of course defense. I mean, it's easy as pie there in that last round for Beans and Nuke J. Though I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. Generally, they are 2 very talented players, and in the current Krig 6 meta here in Europe, they look really, really good with it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this control goes now because it is 67K. They're going to have gained a little bit of confidence off the back of that search and destroy.
Yeah, I bet they absolutely did. I mean, like, they should be talking like, damn, like, we can absolutely win this. And this still does a lot for as far as standings implications. We talk about a lot of teams being 1-4 at the moment, 3 of them, right? And getting yourself a win here against a team like Galacticos, who is at the top of the standings currently in second, it would just do wonders for as far as being able to lock in a playoff spot here going in towards it. So that really could be the big moment for them if they can keep things going. But the respawns, I think, is where things get tricky. I think Alan said it before going in towards this, right? This team has to take one of the 3 respawns off of this Galacticos team. I think that's really going to be the most difficult thing to kind of come through with. And if they're going to be able to do it, you think it might be a checkmate control where they at least have some experience. They have been pretty decent in towards this map mode combination. And if you can get away with it, then that's maybe your opportunity, at least being able to get things maybe a second search and destroy to take these guys down here. But this should be a great map coming through here for us.
Absolutely, it should. And I think the one thing we do have to sort of take note of here is, we've been gassing up Beans and Nuke J. Well, guess what they use, Austin? They are Krig 6 players, and we're going into checkmate control. This is easily, in my mind, the most AR-orientated map here in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, and this is going to be a map that will therefore, well, it's not exactly going to favor 67K per se. Of course, you can never count out Nvidia and Metals on the other side, but it certainly is going to give them a chance, and, we've kind of set this one up as the map that they need to win. Can they do it? As we get right into it, it's going to be 67K looking to start strong here on the offense. They've already got some presence over towards A. That's going to be Nile. He's actually going to have some support over there from Nuke J, and this is immediate pressure from 67K that you love to see.
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted to see. A lot of fire. First tick is good here. 67K. ARs are online. The only kills that have come through have been from Beans and Nuke J, and they are now 7-0 combined as Beans finds 2 more in the feed. This could be a capped immediately, but can Lucky make something happen? He's able to tag up Nuke J a bit. Metals, does he want to go for the challenge? He does so, but it's late. Already, A-Zone has been captured. Nuke J still alive on 4 in a row and gets a lot of that time. So he's going to be pretty close to streaks if he can just grab a couple more kills.
And they're aware of this as well. They know that Nuke J is going to be looking for streaks very soon. That's why you've still got players posturing over here to make sure that Nuke J doesn't continue to cause some damage. And, well, you failed, because Nuke J ends up getting journeyed there, and you can see 67K starting to mount up the pressure over towards B. And what a opening this has been for 67K generally. They look really solid at the moment. Nuke J continuing now on this spree. Can he get just one more kill for the artillery strike? Knows that Nvidian's over towards P5. I believe that Nvidian's going to be well aware of that. The pre-fire coming through, and that's a huge kill to stop the momentum early on.
It sure is. And Metals now, he's free to be able to kind of drop down because some of the ARs have been taken off of the map, so it creates some space. Metals, though, under fire, waiting for Saiyan to give him a challenge, and, well, he will give him the challenge, finds the kill, but can he grab 2 in a row? Lucky says he will not. So everything stabilizes for a quick moment. Still not a bad spot for 67K. They got some mid-map control. They're just fighting for plane control at the moment as Journey's trying to lock that down and solidify it. He's able to grab himself 1, almost turns for the second, but Nuke J, good for the trade. You got about a minute left on the clock here to make something happen on the offense, and they're slowly but surely starting to push up for some control.
Well, if you're not aware, you do need plane control here on this map. That's why you're going to see Los Galacticos put quite a lot of pressure on the plane, but while all this is going on, B progression is being made here by Nile on the point. Beans over towards Tetris, still going to win that gunfight. Nuke J actually does close up shop, and now 67K looking to get this second tick. I think Nile is probably going to end up doing it. Nvidia cross map is actually going to stop this. Nobi looking towards it, and to be fair, why would you? But the problem here for anything, for Los Galacticos, you can get as much map control as you want. There's 45 seconds left on the clock. That's an eternity in control, and you only have 5 lives left.
Getting any of your spawn, yeah, it's more of the difficult things, but you just have to kind of slowly but surely work through the lives, right? That's all you kind of have to do right now for 67K. To get out of their spawn, they find one more kill. Now up to Metals, Invidian, and Lucky for what would have to be a 3 versus 10 clutch. Metals starting to maybe make some kind of an argument for it as they'll find 2 in a row. Lucky finds the 3rd. 20 seconds left. This is coming down to the clock right now. They might only have 3 lives, but they're keeping them off the zone. Lucky going to reposition and kind of pick up this right lane at the moment. His teammates, though, dropping in and around him. Metals no longer here. Lucky just on the point, waiting to make that move. The challenge comes to him. Last one up is going to be Invidian. He's in the back of the spawn. He finds 2, but I don't think he gets to the zone in time, even as the 3rd comes through. 67K, Brody. They get the very first offense on the board.
Well, that's a statement. That much is for sure, right? I mean, offenses on Garrison are extremely rare. Oh, checkmate, sorry. Extremely rare. And what we see that here from them, they're able to win their offensive round. And, I mean, a lot of that just comes out from the opening. From Beans and Nuke J, there was 0 resistance on that A control zone coming out from this roster. So, now 1-0 up. Our 67K. What a barn burner of an opening from them. Let's see how Los Galacticos can respond. You never want to write out this roster at any point, but they do have quite a challenge on their hands now.
Long range shots. Pulled to take it against Nuke J. He's been pretty hot so far off the start of round 1, but it's Metals who does open up with that first blood. And, well, just bouncing in and around the zone by B. Metals able to finesse for a second here, so maybe starting to work for some progress. The push does come to him as Nile finds the kill from the side, but you've been capping A at the same time here. So Journey's just been sitting here, happily collecting that first tick of progress, working towards the second, but here comes the collapse. 67K gonna deny that, at least here for Journey, and now gonna push up now, somehow with the challenge. Takes down 2, drops the trophy, plays his life, 5 in a row, gets help for the 6, but they will be able to clear off the A zone.
Here's a scary thing now, right? 67K, they can enact a spawn trap if they set up properly. Nile is just 2 kills away from earning streaks. Although they're not that effective on this map, they'll still help you win it. And now Nile looking for it. Is able to get 1. Gets away with his life. No trade immediately from Lucky, but is now weak. Goes for the challenge against Metals. Does fall before any streaks earned. So crisis averted for Los Galacticos once again. Still, though, quite a lot to do here. There's 44 seconds on the clock. Metals are going to make some progress on A. He's all alone, though. Shots through the crates by Nuke J. Takes him down. And 67K, they're able to get the wave of kills necessary.
Well, they sure are. Invidian, I mean, you kind of hope that he may make something happen right now for Galacticos because it's just so difficult to kind of push up on towards the map. Nuke J just watching over. Nile right beside him. I mean, they're shutting down the push together. Nile maybe goes for 1 more. It's Beans that adds in the reinforcements, and there is 4 down once again. Sand's going to hold on towards the mid-map control. One last push for Las coming through here, sorry, excuse me. And now we'll see if Sand can, in fact, hold this. Finds 4 in a row. And this is not looking great, Brody. You got to somehow contest this time. Beans is going to watch right over. Galacticos not looking good. Beans for 2. And oh boy, it's just an absolute reel coming through. Play by play. Metals for 1 last contest, but 1.8 on the clock. You got to somehow stall this clock out here as long as possible. And it's not looking great. There is the collapse. And once again, 67K bringing it home. 2-0 up in the control.
And that's pretty standard, to be honest. Checkmate control, right? I mean, I know this generally goes for control, but defenses, I mean, they're so easy to win if you set yourselves up correctly, and it never really felt like in that round Los Galacticos could find their way on out, especially with that early streak coming in from Nile, effectively shut the door and any resistance right out the gate. And now you find yourselves in a position where your backs are against the wall here in this game. 2-0 down.
Man.
This is not quite the position Los Galacticos imagined they'd be in, I think, as they went into this matchup. That one is for sure. 67K, they are playing like their tournament lives are on the line. And to be fair, they technically are.
Very true. They're bringing the heat, and Galacticos known for their comebacks, but can they bring one here for us? Start to see, as that's good help there. Now, might have just turned on a player, but gets help there from one of his teammates, as things will stabilize. They have to deal with the player in towards the back. Nuke J does that, finds Metals, creates a bit of room. Now, about 55 seconds to work with. They haven't been able to get towards the zone just yet, but they will start to work for B. Beans in a great position maybe to start picking off spawners or to be able to create a lot of space, but the problem is that player 7 ends up slipping through before Beans gets to this spot, so not sure if he's going to fully read everyone in and around. He doesn't read metals, and that's going to stop the progress starting to take place on towards the B zone.
67k looking to play this one sneaky. They had Saiyan inside the plane. Unfortunately, though, for 67k, he is going to fall. So, for the first time in this game, 67k don't really look like they've got both hands on the wheel, but that's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, to be honest. They've got quite a lot of breathing room, but 25 seconds on the clock for 67k to make something out of this round. Can they do it? Looking for plane control. Beans is able to pick up one. Lucky looking to put a stop against any insurgents pushing on through. Okay, Infidian able to pick up that kill, but Saiyan has slipped the net. He's able to pick up one. Looking for the second against Metals. It's not to be. Metals pushed all the way up. Yellow knows where this 67k lineup is going to be spawning, and that is a much better round from Los Galacticos. And really, for me there, Austin, the difference is they didn't let that first wave of kills go 67k's way. They held strong.
They held strong. They kept them off the zone. It was great. There was a moment where we saw Beans get to that spot where it looked like, oh no, they might be able to start making progress on towards, that B zone as a whole. But because you're not really controlling the top of the plane or this this left lane through A long, it's not really going to give you an option to be able to freely stay on it, even with Beans in a nice position besides Wood. So that is going to be around here. Like we said, you can't count these guys out. It might have been a hot start for 67k, but Galacticos known for coming back, but they need to now convert on an offense. They haven't done so far, and it's been off the back end of just the great pressure here from NukeJ as well as Beans controlling the map. That has to change if you're getting us to a round 5.
Does indeed. Los Galacticos, this is the round where they need to make it work. Backs against the wall. How hard can they push back? Infidian is able to pick up one inside the plane. Has a player behind him. Surely not the turn on here to NukeJ. Oh, NukeJ ends up finishing that gunfight. I thought for a second there, Austin. I was a little bit concerned. But now Los Galacticos looking to make some progress on A.
Second tick on the way here. Journey, though, a couple battles out front. Saiyan as well as Beans, they'll win them. More blue than red in the feed that you would like to see here if you're a Galacticos fan, as you need all the progress you can possibly get, but at least you got a tick on that push. And now they find 2 down, so this is going to create a numbers advantage once again. Mal and NukeJ, they've been the duo in and around this point so many times before. Mal finds that first one, but it's all up to NukeJ, who's going to have to try and press forward. Good help there from Metals, the submachine gun duo here on Galacticos, making some work happen on the A zone. 2 in a row come through. That's going to be progress for A, and that might just be the zone itself.
That should be the zone here. 67k. They're not going to hemorrhage any lives unnecessarily. They know that they can just fall back, but Metals is snapping at the moment. That plane's mine, he says. Saiyan doesn't have a ticket. And now 67k. Okay, Metals. He's taken down. That's what, the 4th streak we've seen of Verdict here in this game?
Yes.
That's huge. As they shut down that. Now journeying from behind, though. Los Galacticos, they are the ones here, you feel, in control of the map. They technically, have full control over B, but there's one player who has managed to get away, and that's NukeJ.
It's kind of trading the map right now. Infidian trying to press forward here with Lucky. So both ARs are kind of caught over by this A long lane, but yeah, this opens up for NukeJ to start moving in towards the spawn. So he stops all of the sub players from being able to push back up on towards that freely. Beans can't win that battle. Lucky somehow comes out with the 1v1. And you need kills now to start coming through for Galacticos. You got a minute on this clock. You have to make some progress by B. Journey, let's do ignite that exact push. As he finds that first one, can't grab the second. NukeJ clearing off some of this right lane now, as Lucky can't find the trade just yet. NukeJ under fire and low, might just end up falling. Almost a finesse, but Lucky goes towards the beatdown, finds the kill. 2 now, dropping for the side of 67k. Has to try and answer, and he doesn't exactly have the support just yet.
And one thing I will say here is we're in a 12 versus 7 live situation for Los Galacticos, so they do have the advantage here, but 35 seconds on the clock. 67k will be looking to play time if they can. Journey on point, looking to clutch up. Lucky's able to get one, trades in for a Lucky, and this is what's happening here. That life disparity definitely being felt for 67k, but NukeJ and Beans able to pick up 3. Wow. And now this is much, much more manageable. You've got NukeJ pushed all the way inside the spawn. Unfortunately, though, he is going to fall And now the trio, Beans, Saiyan, and Niall. What do you have for us? 14 seconds on the clock. Los Galacticos, just one good push left, and the Metal's able to pick up one. Lucky's able to pick up another. It's just down to Niall. 1 versus 6. He's able to get one, but 11 seconds on the clock. Players on the point, and that's a huge clutch for Los Galacticos.
Oh, Brody, can't count them out, man. We're going to round 5. What was looking to be maybe quick, slight work for a 67K in this map number 3, no longer the case. It is now tied up. We're going to see exactly who has offense, who has defense. I didn't do the quick math here, so we'll see who in fact actually has it. Of course you want defense in this position for either team. And with all the kills coming through, that means that on the attack, 67K, they got to make some wonders happen on towards the map, Brody. They did it in towards the very first round, but that's the only round. Now they have to do it again.
Well, 67K, they are going to be the ones here. On offense, this is not how they expected this control to go. They started so strongly. Now they're going to need a repeat of round number 1. NukeJ starting to heat up over towards A. If you can deal with Invidian, this would be a good opening, but Invidian deals with him. Los Galacticos is going to win those first engagement, and for 67K at the moment, it is just about finding some kind of opening, having the kind of start that you had in round number 1, but at the moment, Los Galacticos, they are dealing with them with ease. Invidian almost slides out for the second, but he is dealt with.
Yeah, I think the big problem right now is 67K. They're so tunneled on getting someone towards this A zone that they're not really following the fundamentals of this map mode combination where you have to get somebody inside a plane. Now they're realizing it that, guys, we can't just push through this A lane. They have plane control. We're going to get taken down from the side. So they're going to dedicate about 2 players in towards getting some plane control. It's Lucky is underneath. He'll win 1 battle, but you need a trade to come through for 67K, and nothing is near just yet. So Journey now allowed to go on a bit of a rampage as he cleans up too. Brody, there's 20 seconds left, and they haven't even got towards the zone.
Well, this is not how 67K envisaged the rest of this game going. 13 seconds on the clock. Can 67K do anything about it? The answer, I think, Austin, we both agree, is a resoundingly no. 5 seconds now. The timer ticks down. And 67K, what was a bright and hopeful control, has quickly turned into a desolate near future for them. 3-2. What a reverse sweep in the control, and that was just really, really well played for the Rams. I honestly didn't think they were going to do it. There was a point there where 67K, they just looked indomitable. And, I mean, Rams, they came back in just such a fashion, man. I'm just completely exhilarated by that game.
I mean, yeah, the community probably would, reference that to just a breakdown. It was a breakdown, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like that's the word that's been going around lately. So that's what it kind of feels like. I mean, there's a moment where they have to close that out going in towards the round number 4. They're on defense. They give too many lives away. And because of it, Rams are able to, or rather, Los Galacticos are able to kind of make their way in and be able to just fight back in towards this game. This team has just so much composure. And as we take a look at a lot of the replays that, end up unfolding here for us, the first 2 rounds, you're thinking, damn, 67K, they might just 3-0 this Galactico squad. They're looking too strong. Everything is working here for NukeJ as well as Beans, where they're taking over the map. But we get towards those future rounds here, Brody, and everything just turns on its head.
It does. This is absolutely a game of 2 halves. It's kind of like a football game in a way, right? I mean, these guys, they went off field after round number 2. Los Galacticos, they had a word with themselves inside the changing rooms, and they came out a very different team, of course. I mean, that round number 3, it was kind of expected, in a sense, to go their way, but it was round number 4. I think that's when they really did turn everything around. They shut down 67K right out of the gate, and they gave themselves that life advantage, which, realistically speaking, Los Galacticos, they were able to really work with. And of course, round number 5, and it does help that they did end up getting defense on round number 5.
It always does, but I mean, it's still just how dominant the changes were made. When we look at that first round where there's just like a great opening, they're able to get that A zone pretty quick, and then they transition over towards B, compared to the last round where it's like they feel like they can't breathe, they're suffocating, they can't even get to a zone. I don't even know if they touched one. So it's just so night and day to see that first round play out compared to the last round play out there for us. Very, very much a change up, and it's just also the fire of coming back and saying, listen, we're going round 5 here, guys. Like, we can absolutely, quote unquote, reverse sweep them in the control, and that's exactly what they do here. So they're able to pull off a nasty win. And that also gives them the leverage going in towards the rest of the series, because you have to grab one of the respawns here. You absolutely have to. and we're going in towards what will be a Moscow hardpoint, where you do have an 0-1 record for the Rams. And the highlight here, I feel like, for 67K, and what you have to keep reminding everyone of, is that the ARs are actually on fire. They're online. Beans and Nuke, they were the reason they were winning the majority of those rounds there when we got in towards the control. They were the reason that they locked and solidified that search and destroy on raid. It has to now be the reason going in towards Moscow if we're going to see the light of a Miami for map 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, this can't all be put on the ARs. I will say that much. I need to see some good games coming out here from Niall and Saiyan. And we've had some moments. I think that much is for sure. Both Saiyan and Niall, you know, they have had moments here, specifically in the control, specifically in the search and destroy. But, you know, I need a good performance from them as well. To bring that aggression, that has been, I think, the key to victory for them here in this series versus this Los Galacticos roster. So really, I think this is going to have to be a team effort, not just down to the ARs. But, I mean, the question for me here is, you know, 67K, we talk about this quite a lot with these rosters that are maybe less experienced per se, and 67K, they are a roster that embodies that fact. Although they've been around in the amateur scene, maybe, you know, playing under 18 Call of Duty.
It is heartbreaking, and it can absolutely affect the morale, affect the mentals of some of these guys. And I mean, the real word that you'd probably be throwing around is frustration, right? Like, that probably should have been your map. You should be 2-1 up, but that's not the case. And it is these moments where we talk about the amateur scene about, all right, are you able to kind of just shake that off, reset, go in towards the map 4, knowing that there are still potentially 2 maps to play? Because that's really the big factor that we talked about between the amateur scene and pro play, right? When you're looking to get in towards pro play, that's something that is absolutely required. I mean, it doesn't matter how good you are. That's something that you have to be able to do here. So that's a factor that we're about to find out here for ourselves going in towards Moscow. And you bring up a point talking about, the subs have also been able to help out here and there, but Moscow dominated by ARs, a chance to be able to at least bring a lot of the individual play to shut down the incredible team play that the squad brings here for Galacticos is going to be one of the key factors to being able to take these guys down. And if they can get it to a Miami, well, we've already seen what they can do in search and destroy and how they're able to adapt. So that's just got to be in the back of your head. But first, you got to focus on this Moscow. You got to clean up some of your rotations and have a better start too, right? When we look back on that map 1 there, Brody, on Garrison, it was a bit of a slow start on the first 2 hills, and then they almost fumbled the rotation as well towards P3, where things just felt like it was almost out of hand. So if you can have at least a bit of a cleaner start, maybe trade some P2s for P3s for holding the full hill, that could be your opportunity as well, at least being able to keep things contested throughout the entire map.
I will say one thing, which is that, you know, unlike Garrison or maybe a map like Raid, and this is what happened on Garrison, Moscow is a much more forgiving map if you mess up a rotation, right? If you go down by 100 points or so, yes, that's still a rubbish situation to find yourselves in, but it is much more manageable on a map like Moscow. We've seen teams come back from those kind of deficits quite often. So, hey, look, if they find themselves in that position again, it will not be the end of the world for 67K, but I think you're on the money there, Austin. They do not want to get themselves in that position. And hey, if they can get things going here early on, if you can see, you know, Beans and Nuke J firing on all cylinders, the 2 players that have been absolutely lights out for this roster so far, this might not be such a bad map for 67K. We've seen highlights from them before. Let's see if they're able to bring some highlights to us again. I believe we have just lagged out of the lobby. Not entirely sure what is happening on their end. So we'll have an update for you guys on that in just a moment. But as I said, Austin, for me, the thing here is for them, they need to come out of the gate swinging, I think, as a roster and really kind of, I guess, just knock this Los Galacticos roster off their feet a little bit, trying to send them from an L right off the bat.
Yeah, match them tit for tat. Like, I think that's the big key here for these guys, man. If you can at least match them and don't give them the breathing room to take over a map like we know they're capable of doing, because they've done it just so many times before, I think that's really the window. But I mean, it's still so difficult to bounce back after that map 3, as we're talking about here. So there's a lot to kind of think about before we get ourselves in towards this matchup and how they're going to be able to kind of handle it. But if they can, then maybe we are going to be able to see these guys get us towards map 5 if they can have that hot start, be able to win some of these rotations, lock down some setups. And I mean, we know they're capable of doing it. It's just a matter of, you know, following the fundamentals, making sure they're staying on the same page together. And we also come back to the standings for as far as what this series again would do for implications. I mean, this would be such a massive win. Taking a win away from the second seeded team right now in towards the standings in week 2 would just do wonders if you're able to, you know, kind of keep this train rolling, so to speak, for as far as finding win after win after win and being able to work your way up the standings so that you can solidify a playoff spot here. So yeah, man, there's a lot to take in for these guys. You have to imagine that's also a lot of pressure, knowing that this is probably an important win for as far as whether or not maybe we're getting relegated or not because of the 3 teams that are currently 1-4. So that also kind of plays a bit of a factor for sure.
Yeah, if you can win this series, right? If you're a 67K and you can win this series against arguably the best team in European challenges, not only does that shoot your confidence sky high, but it gets you a little bit of relief, right? You're like, hang on,
yes, it does.
Our next matchup is not so much of a problem anymore. Just to give you guys an update as well, I believe Team Moon has ended up winning their matchup 3-1 versus Train Hard Esports, and of course that was a massive matchup.
That was a big one.
Talking about relegation, and we'll be having our eyes kind of on a lot of matchups here. Of course, this is week number 2 of Challengers Elite here in stage 2 in Europe. So of course, just like with stage 1 with week number 2, there's going to be a lot of eyes on some of these sort of lower level matchups, if you will. If teams that are 1-3, 1-4, that are fighting to stay alive in the stage, and of course that's what we have on our hands here with 67K, a team that is fighting to stay alive. Austin, can they do it? 2-1 down in the series. They got to win this hard point.
Well, let's find out if they can. So far, just going to be contested back and forth. Los Galacticos trying to make sure they get as much P1 time as possible, as well as maybe play for a flip. As you can see all those blue arrows, that's where we're going to be rotating to next, just right behind them. Nuke J responsible for locking down the middle of the map right now. He finds himself a kill. The trade there for Invidian. So time's still going over. Galacticos going to be pretty happy with it. Zayn finally comes through with the bench, finds 2. Now Nile a chance to be able to clean up the 3rd. Just instead, will shrug him back and just be able to play his life. Still a lot of this time being contested, but you do have the setup at least intact for now for 67K.
Well, feel a little bit like Professor Farnsworth at the moment, because I've got some good news, everyone. Los Galacticos, they've already, or 67K, sorry, they've already got their way over towards the rotation, but they do have to win a couple of rotational gunfights. They do it here for a 67K. So now, it's going to be about soaking up some time here, finding a response against Los Galacticos, and a lot of this, as we said, is going to be down to Beans and Nuke J, the players with the ARs. But I did say that we wanted to see the subs start to play really well here, and this is a good opportunity for Nile and Saiyan to do it, as he's saying inside the hard point. Beans now on the backside, though, looking for these opening gunfights. Look at the aggression coming in from Metals. He's able to pick up 2. The surge from the backside for Los Galacticos. They're able to pick up all of the gunfights. That is a brilliant break for them, and it forces 67K into a horrible position, because that's quite a lot of time to give up, but you don't want to give up the rotation also.
So you trade 30 for 30. I don't think it's the end of the world. 67K just need to make sure that they do, in fact, lock things down here and fend off the first or second push. This is kind of what we're used to seeing sometimes on this map for Moscow. Just a matter of, again, can you actually stop this in towards the back? Because Galacticos really good at being able to break down setups and make their way in towards the back. First gunfight there. Saiyan able to connect. Because that kill comes through first, he should be able to hold his kill cam, but he still manages to spawn out. So this is still a chance to not only hit from the front, but still hit from the back. Nuke J, important role to play right now inside of the library. Able to get himself 1, make that 2. Metals will get the trade, but in from behind is going to be Saiyan, who comes off that middle spawn. He reinforces the back, and he makes sure that they are going to be able to hold on to the time for now.
Well, 67K for all the clutch moments they had there. Unfortunately, they aren't in the hard point. The last 25 seconds could well go Los Galacticos' way. And hey, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu here, Austin. Once again, it's one of those situations where Los Galacticos are in for the last 25 seconds of time. 67K, though, they are not content with that. They do not want to give it up, and that's a really smart play call, of course. They're going to be well aware, actually, of where Los Galacticos are going to be spawning. They know it's essentially nowhere near the street, so they can afford to push that. And, well, it's good gamble. It works in their favor, as now they're in control of the Boulevard hardpoint. Los Galacticos going to have to go for a 3-pronged attack here. Got Metals coming in from behind. He could be a problem, and 67K just simply not aware of this. Metals, that spawn, I don't think he would be aware of it naturally. He's able to pick up 2 kills inside the hardpoint, and I think just off the back of that one play, to be honest, from Metals, that one spawn, Los Galacticos able to break on in.
Yeah, that's just a big individual play for Metals to be able to make sure they lock down some time, get the early break, and those spawns were pretty deep there for the 4 players that came up off of those kills, spawning around P2. They will make their way back towards the street and middle gold, but Journey also dealing with that as he finds one trying to create a pinch. Now the hit from the front, just fighting for about 20 seconds or so. Nile able to find himself a kill, but I don't think they want to fully invest in towards the push here. They simply just want to try and zone some of the exits, get themselves ready for for a setup in towards P1 as we go back towards the set. And well, with an 8 kill coming in, they will be able to contest just a few extra seconds there, just trying to take anything they can off the clock. But Niall, he's already set up for new trophy system down. He's in collecting time.
He's indeed a close hardpoint game overall here, to be honest with you, Austin. This is so tit for tat. I mean, this is what you said we'd need to see from 67K, and they've managed to keep up with Los Galacticos. Nobody across the board really is having that great of a game as well. I think that's one of the key things. We haven't seen anybody go off on either side, really. 67K, though. Inside the hardpoint, Saiyan able to pick up 2. Nuke J follows up with another one. 67K, they stave off the attack for now. Los Galacticos going to be spawning out all the way over towards Founding, and that's a great read from Niall, able to pick up 2. And that is a huge batch of kills for 67K to get, because now with 20 seconds left, Los Galacticos, they're spawning out in Narnia.
That's right, and this is actually just such a crazy adjustment because it's the exact same situation that we got last time when we were looking at the P1 hill, except it was Los Galacticos actually controlling the time on P1. This time, it's just great Eskies control that comes here for 67K that allows them to be able to constantly hit from the side, find these kills, but now they need to hold on towards the spawns, and Metals has been able to at least break on through initially. The kill will come through there for Beans, but a quick trade right after. We saw about last time, it was what, 30 seconds they were able to break in towards the back. This time, it could be a lot sooner if Journey can keep this up here with his teammates as they go for another break attempt.
This is the same break. Exactly what you said, Austin. This is the same break, and it works exactly the same. Journey able to pick up. That's the second. 4th on a spree. If he can get number 5, maybe starting to look towards streets. Surely not Journey! Somebody shut down Journey, for heaven's sake, now on a 6. Looking for number 7. Will try to play his life here. Knows that these streaks could well be the difference between a win and a loss and closing out the series here in game number 4. He's not going to do it. Journey has been shut down, and that is a huge kill for a 67K to make, despite the fact that they did not get all the time they wanted off that hard point.
That's just so wild. I mean, a really important hill, too, because P1 is just so favored for 67K. You needed some crucial time to bounce back, so you're keeping this in just about 20 points here for yourself. Not out of reach. Thayan able to grab himself 1, but the trade comes through right after. Now it's up to Niall to kind of pick up the slack and stop this push from coming in from behind. Invidian going to do a little jump over, but Niall's going to see the stun jump through. It still wins the gunfight. Saiyan also comes off that respawn, and they're able to deal with the pressure in towards the back. So this time they won't be broken from the back. Los Galacticos, they now have to think, do we want to break this from the front, or will we try one more time to come through the middle?
This is big time for 67K. They've given themselves a lead here. Los Galacticos, they're going to want to break in, but they simply can't. All of the gunfights are just going 67K's way. And the more time you spend on this hardpoint, the less time you spend on the rotation. And Los Galacticos is going to be well aware of that fact. They're going to give up this last 15 seconds. But what a huge hill that was there, Austin, for 67K. And now, even bigger is this rotation. Los Galacticos, they are down by about 60 to 70 points. They need to win this one.
So far, the rotation, it's not looking too bad for 67K. They clean up 2 as soon as they make their way on towards the street. Initial time collected for 67K, but Journey going to find a pinch. He will get the kill, but Saiyan there to answer back as Metals forced to press forward and see if he can pick up that trade. Now things will flip around for as far as the spawns. Metals gets inside office, gets help from Journey. They're going to be able to control gold. So their ARs now just have to focus throughout the street as Metals actually pops back up top. We'll be able to fight for this time. Still a good 30 seconds to fight for, and 67K, they also have to start worrying about the rotation.
Do indeed. Los Galacticos looking to get the rest of this time. It's time they're going to want. Metals inside office, going to jump out into the window to try and earn it. But there's 2 players he has to face down to get any of that time. Journey's going to be able to pick up that scrap. Keep an eye on the numbers on your minimap. Los Galacticos going to try and push this from checkers to make sure they do get control of P1. But Saiyan, he is the player that's looking to disrupt this play. If he can make a couple of kills here on this flank, this would be huge for 67K.
Saiyan waiting patiently, trying to scout them out, finds the kill. His teammates also convert for some kills, and P1 in their control. Last time, they held this for just about the full time. This time, you can't let that happen if you're Galacticos, because if you do, we might just be going towards a map number 5. So far, so good. 67K zoning him away. Nuke J almost finding the second. Saiyan just looking to try and clean up the player inside the point. Is lucky. Doesn't have all the help. Long-range shots not there. As Metals answers back, for the time still up in the air for either squad. Niall playing his life now as he waits for the challenge. He will get it. Metals finding a couple in a row, trying to break on through to force those spawns deeper. The only difference this time around, Brody, is that we're going to be going towards this P2 hill, and it's not going to be 67K with the initial setup. They now need to find themselves a break moving in towards the new point.
This is just so well played from 67K. I mean, what? They are 22 points shy of victory here in game number 4, forcing a map number 5 against Los Galacticos. What can Los Galacticos do about it? They are quite a margin away from even in this game up, and it's Metals inside Laundry, able to pick up one, but good trades coming on through for Los Galacticos, so they're going to hold on to this point for now. 67K, they're going to have a few attempts at this before thinking about that rotation. At least one more, you might imagine, and actually from 67K, I really like this from them. They're not overcommitting to this, they still want the time if they can get it. And now going for it, Nuke J is going to fall, and there you go. The reservedness is going to pay off here from 67K. The players spawn out over towards gold. Yes, they don't win that time, but they have the rotation.
Yeah, they have the rotation. They just kind of force back some of those spawns, so they're not able to rotate earlier than you would have maybe liked here. But Galacticos trying to break this from the front of Fountain. Not something we typically see. It's going to be Saiyan as well as Nile. They find two. So Journey, he's forced to go big. He finds one, but the double chow is there. 67K trying to hold on towards the setup. They have the spawns. They have the hill. Galacticos might have one good push left, and it needs to come here. Nile from the side, looking to shut it down. Everyone waiting to get in position. Has to be now, and here it comes. They're able to deal with the first one, making their way towards the point. They find the second. It's Nuke J in the back. He finds two, stopping it, but in towards the point is Journey. He's all alone. Beans finds him. Only 4 more seconds, and with the time coming in, 67K are getting us to a map 5.
What a performance from 67K. They played that one so close versus Los Galacticos throughout the entirety of that first set of hills, I would say. And then whatever happened, it's kind of like they flicked a switch mentally, really, on the rotation from P2 to P3, where they just got the majority time off the back of those hard points. And ever since then, Los Galacticos, they just really failed to close that gap. But 67K played that so well. And something we talked about going into that hard point, right? We needed to see good performances out of Nile and Saiyan, and guess what, Austin? That is exactly what we got.
We did. We got it. It was just a collective effort. I feel like everyone had individual moments there. And the big factor, I think, for me was the fact that we saw the first hill for Galacticos just be so dominating, and they got so much time off of it that they got the lead once they broke about 30 seconds in towards P2. We went towards that second and third rotation. That was really the factor for me where I'm like, damn, these guys are actually now holding down P1 as well as winning this rotation towards P2, at least for that second set of hills. And that was the breaking moment where we started to see them at least take a big enough lead where they could comfortably make moves around the map and be able to rotate early while giving over some of that time and still be in control. But yeah, a very close map here as we take a look at these replays, Brody. Just a lot of big moments. Nile controlling Eskies, and then we had a couple of massive breaks for Galacticos in towards the back where they did it the same way both times and managed to break in for the last half of the 30 seconds here, which is what allowed them to stay in for as long as they did, but not enough when it came down to the end.
And I think actually what you guys just saw there on that replay, that moment it won't have sealed the game, but you got to imagine how different of a game that actually looks there if Journey gets that 7th kill over on P2, right? I mean, he was 1 kill away from streaks. If he gets those, that is an entirely different game. 67K may well have been looking at the end of the series there and then, but now, Austin, we are looking at a parallel universe that they very much would rather enjoy. They go into a game number 5 after a stellar performance in game number 2, and it's not like they blew Los Galacticos out of the water, but they outplayed them when it mattered. And of course, if you remember that search and destroy, right, Austin, it came down to the one round realistically, and that wasn't because it was a round 11. It was because all they were doing effectively, Los Galacticos and this roster of 67K, just trading defenses. But that offensive win, that 2 versus 4 in game number 2, the heroics from Beans and Nuke J, players we have been talking so highly of all series, it made all the difference, and that is what makes this Miami search and destroy so exciting.
I think that's the standout for me. I think Beans in particular, because when I was looking at this roster coming into it today, knowing that it would be on the cast, I was thinking, all right, now I've seen a lot of him. I know what he's capable of doing. Nuke, I've seen the talent that he brings to the table. I wasn't really expecting, as much from the other two guys, and I think that they're absolutely proving me wrong. They're showing up. Beans in particular, I think has really just kind of blown me away for as far as what he's capable of doing with that Krig 6 in his hands, and he is, put in a position where he's absolutely shining, and now a chance to be able to take this one away. We also were kind of, posturing him and hawing about were they going to be able to bounce back after, such a tough defeat in the Control where they were up 2-0 and they lost 3 rounds straight. That they absolutely they answered that one too for us, Brody, because they bounced back hard, they bounced back fierce, and the search and destroy that we did see there in the map number 2, it felt like there was a bit of creativity thrown in towards the mix. Well, Miami, it is a much bigger map, a lot more room to be able to pull out some creative plays. So I just don't know what to expect going in towards this one, because we know Rams are usually pretty good in the game number 5s. I would usually be betting on them, but with the way that all these individuals are playing right now for 67K, I feel like it's totally up in the air.
It is. It absolutely is. Now, just so we've got an around the grounds update per se for those of you football fans at home as to what's going on at the moment. And actually, Elite 2, another team in this relegation situation, is what we'll call it, just beat August 3-2, avoiding a reverse sweep. That puts so much more weight on this game for 67K. Of course, because if we've just seen Elite 2 pull off an upset, 67K now need to pull off an upset of their own. Actually, Elite 2 apparently went 2-0 on the day. So I believe that kind of puts them out of the woods per se in terms of getting relegated. I'm unsure on exactly sort of the particulars of all the relegation situations. Of course, we don't get live updates of what's going on in terms of the standings. So we'll have to see where we're at the end of today. But again, Austin, this makes this matchup all the more important. If you could pull this win off, it would be huge.
Oh man, it would be so incredible. Like, it's just such an important one. And it's coming back to the fact that you're taking down, what a lot of people hold to be, the number 1 team in Europe, even if it doesn't show in the standings per se, because Passion is flawless. That was a close, tight series they played against each other, going the distance to a map 5. So yeah, I don't think that, you could necessarily, 1, count them out, but 2, if you can at least get this win for 67K, it does wonders for as far as what you might be able to do for as far as making waves throughout the rest of this stage 2 here, and as well as future matches as well. So it would just mean so much to these guys. I can probably say that with confidence for sure. It's just a matter of actually doing it and pulling it off, right? Because it's one thing to know in the back of your mind that this is a really important match and there's maybe a lot of pressure on it, and you've at least got it to the distance and you have a chance at being able to take it. It's a total other thing to actually win it and do it. So we have to see them kind of do what they've been doing throughout just about every single map, and coming back to the fact that this is going to be a chance for Beans and Nuke to do what they were doing before, except on an even larger map now as we look at Miami for as far as what you might be able to do, and being able to control a lot of the lanes is what this comes down to, that AR role. So we'll see if they can do it, Brody. It's going to be a lot. I'm hyped for it. I'm ready for it. This is an upset that could potentially come through that I don't think anybody was expecting, but it still needs to happen before we can call it, and we're about to get into it.
Absolutely. This is a completely unexpected situation. That much is for sure. I was, I'll be honest, I'll be completely honest. I was absolutely in the group with like, well, this is going to be a 3-0 for Rams. Lost Galactic. Yeah, I mean, I'd written this off before we even got into the series, to be honest, with 67K, for which I apologize, 67K. I'm sure I'll get an angry, sort of angry-ish DM from saying about it, telling me how much of an idiot I am. And you wouldn't be wrong to. You wouldn't be wrong to saying, but now you have to finish it off. A game 5 to make sure you stay alive here in stage 2 of Challengers Elite. What an elite stage it has been for this 67K roster, a team that we didn't really expect to see here, but they've made quite the impression, and now they start things off in the offense.
They sure do. And well, lots of nades coming through, no trophy systems being available. Journey finds himself an easy pickup. Nile, you gotta hide the toes, brother, but the nade finds him instead. That means that 67K, they're going to lose 2 off the bat, but maybe Beans a chance for a 2-piece will fall short. Saiyan now forced to make a play. It would have to be a 1 versus 3, and he's only got about 30 seconds to do it.
He's got so many problems here to deal with. Got 3 problems, and well, they're pretty much all of them. It's Los Galacticos, a heavy B hold there from them, and I really do like that play call, you know, stacking all 3 players effectively onto B, and then having one player watching both mid-map and A. Good start for Los Galacticos. Now, how does 67K respond? They get a defense of their own.
Want to try and respond to it. Don't let Galacticos pick up a couple of rounds in a row. They're going to start playing a lot more riskier and have a lot more freedom on the map in general, no matter what side it's on. Lucky, he's just going to be responsible for watching this cross. And Lucky actually not going to switch towards an AR. I was maybe half expecting that, but instead of going to hold on towards the sub, maybe expecting something up close there inside of Piano. NukeJ gets some info up top there on towards Invidian. Shots come back through the beach side. This should give you the info that they are looking to try and get the bomb down by A, and before they know it, Journey might actually make it happen.
Bomb now down, advantage well in Los Galacticos' favor here in this round. 67K, you're going to have to pull off a 2 versus 4, and it's not exactly uncharacteristic of them, but now a 1 versus 4. Beans left up. Look, we've been hyping up Beans quite a lot here, Austin, but I don't know if he's capable of 1 versus 4, and I'm pretty sure Los Galacticos, well, they're certain that he's not able to pick up that round. Good adaptation from them there.
Yeah, interesting statistics here. 2-0 right now for S&D for the side of this Galacticos roster. 0-2 for 67K on Miami. So yet to find a win so far on this map is 67K. And you want to try to make that happen. Of course, if you can do it here, it would just make all the difference for as far as what might end up playing out here for us by the end of the day when we take a look at the standings. But have to find a round, you feel like, in towards round number 3 right now. Already 0-2 down. Bean's going to switch towards that Krig and towards the middle of the map here. Looking for just a bit of info. Shots come through there for Metals. Almost finds the kill. That would have been a big one because Nile is the bomb carrier, but he's able to at least get to safety, play his life, get the regen in, as Los Galacticos also probably get some decent info that they are looking to make a play by A. So everything just comes to a halt here for now.
Slow game for these two at the moment. 67K, they know if they lose this round, well, not in the best position are you in this game number 5. So they know how important this one is. Currently with very little map control, Bean's going to have to sliver away from Journey. The problem for him here is he is facing down 3 players. Lucky's going to finish him off, and now 67K, a man down. They do not have any control of either A or B. They do have 1 player inside the garage. That's going to be saying. If he gets his kill on Journey, it could open up the situation, but Metals takes him down from the jump. Now 15 seconds on the clock for Nile and NukeJ to pull off a 2 versus 4. NukeJ's going to pick up 1. But time really not on their side here. Los Galacticos going to immediately surely check this. NukeJ, though, with the cover. Able to pick up 1. Looking for the second. Won't find it, but it's a good comeback here from Invidian and Lucky. It's not another 2 versus 4 for a 67K. Los Galacticos can wipe the sweat off their brow.
They sure can, and this is also going to put Lucky closer and closer towards streaks. 4-0, gets himself the defuse here too, so just about 3 rounds in. That's also something you have to worry about, and struggling to get around on the board here early is looking to be a bit of a problem with NukeJ's play, as he's able to find that kill, and he reads this hop over the wall, perfectly on towards Metals. Almost makes a play on towards the third here, which is Invidian, but just can't find that gunfight. That could have been the difference maker. Perhaps not, because Lucky was coming in from behind, but hard to say. 67K down 3-0 here, Brody. You need rounds to come through. It's Miami, a map that is very difficult to kind of get a grip on, especially when you're down early, because of the freedom the team has when they're ahead. And, well, you feel like you definitely need that round to come through here on round 4.
Los Galacticos now having a stellar search and destroy to kick things off. Can 67K dig deep and find a comeback? Currently, pretty much all players struggling across the board. For Los Galacticos, though, you'd expect them to play this one a little bit more reserved. They know, of course, as you mentioned, Austin, that Lucky is going to be close to streaks. So we'll want to play that as much as they can. If that means giving up a round or 2, it won't be the worst thing in the world.
Now with Krig trying to go for some long-range shots. He gets taken a little bit low here, just by a bullet. Good shots. It's actually Nile. Takes the reach out, no hesitation. Finds Invidia and says, I can do it with a sub, I can do it with an AR. Does not matter. And now Galacticos, difficult spot. They have to make this push happen. Sand, good spot to be in as he finds one, trying to play his life. Beans finds Lucky and Metals. Yeah, he's forced to make a play here. This should be good for the round, as it is. Sand finds 2, 67K. Flawless round to get themselves on the board.
Huge round. I mean, just for many reasons, right? I mean, first of all, you're not 4-0 down. Otherwise, that would have been a really horrible position to be in. But of course, you stop Lucky from earning any prospective streaks. So, not necessarily out of the woods just yet. 67K still have quite the distance to go. But that's a good start. So they now go on the offense. I'm interested to see what they're able to do here, to be honest. I'd really like to see some heavy aggression straight towards B. Again, this is what we kind of talked about going into map number 2, right? For 67K. If they can throw Los Galacticos off, it would be huge. But instead, it's Los Galacticos who have come up with the aggression.
Yeah, they take over mid-map just about immediately, and that's good info because you know that Journey's likely not doing that play alone, so it's either combined with a top piano hit purple or it's someone with him. But Saiyan, he finds that first blood onto Journey, who was just positioned a little too aggressive, and now it's Lucky with the sub as well. Top balcony, looking for maybe an angle to drop down and create some havoc in from behind. And you just kind of need to pause here. 67K just need to scout for some information, figure out maybe where a couple of the players are so they can look to use their numbers advantage. But NukeJ might just be caught, does get to cover behind the bus. They now know where Lucky is for sure. Lawbang comes through, and there is the push in from behind, as well as Metals dropping. This leaves Invidian all alone in what would have to be a 1v4.
Invidian's a pretty good player. He's been somebody that we've maybe questioned in the past, his place on this team, but he has more than earned his right to be on this roster. One of the top teams here in European Challenges. Can he pull off a 1 versus 3, though? That is a different ask entirely. And I think for him here, actually, 25 seconds on the clock, he is playing this one effectively, as we'll learn. You know, I'm on the, I don't know, not the worst position in the world, but I think he knows that Saiyan's on a 4 spree, or at least that 67K may be working towards streaks. So just going to play this one really passively, and hey, you might even get Saiyan off that streak, and that works out perfectly. I don't know if that was exactly what Invidian was intending, but it works out in the end. He's not going to win the round, but he does have some damage control.
Yeah, I doesn't know if it's intending, but I mean, it's framed up beautifully from you because that's exactly what happens. Finds the kill, makes sure that he isn't going to be able to work towards streaks, and I'm sure Saiyan is like, are you serious? This guy's in the corner in the middle of the map right now. Like, what is he doing? And well, he's making sure you're not getting streaks here, Saiyan. So, big play, and that also allows 67K to work back in towards the game. I said in round 4, they needed to find a win. They did. Now it's 2-3, so it's manageable. You can start to work off of that, look to tie this one up, and you've made a lot of adjustments and changes. And, well, the last 2 offensive hits have basically went over towards A, so this is going to now be a stack by B. A great read for 67K to change a little bit up here, predicting that they might look to go towards this site. And, well, with no one being up top, there is a bit of freedom here as Metal's going to be looking to try and find the head of Nile to see if they can crit a pick.
Gotta get rid of Nile. You've got to get rid of Nile in this position. Good attempt for Semtexes, guys, but there's a trophy system there. You're not getting any Semtexes past that. And Los Galacticos now, they've got to deal with Saiyan. He's going to get one. Nile in that power position, able to fire back at Metals also. NukeJ sticks his head out of the restaurant, takes down Lucky. He's finished with his food, and 67K. So are they, generally. 3 rounds on the bounce here, Austin. Los Galacticos, they came out with the fire in this game number 5, but 67K, they have done exactly what we asked of them. They dug deep, and they found a really solid response.
Just a great read, too. Just understanding that they've been shut down at A. They're likely going to try out B and just stack it with 3 players. Beautifully done. 67K back in the game, and a chance to be able to take control here going in towards what would be around number 7. So much to take in for this squad who's been able to bounce back now in towards our final map in this best of 5. And it will be another hit gearing up towards B. Nile pushed up pretty far in early in towards the round towards B here. So a chance for a plant. Bean's going to slide across, just baiting here for his bomb carrier. Nile now with the second slide. We'll be looking to drop this down, and this should go through.
Should go through here. Metal's going to draw first blood, though. Good trades coming on out, though, for a 67K. They stand resolute on the site. Metals has to be the playmaker here. Beans, though, with the aggression. This is what you love to see from 67K. Beans with the aggression. He's able to pick up a second. Now looking for the ace, I believe, in this round. Niall looking to play spoiler, though. Comes on through. He's actually going to fly. I'm not actually sure what Niall was doing.
He baited for him for streaks. He baited for streaks.
He did? Oh, that's so smart. That is so smart from 67k. Now 4 rounds on the bounce and Beans on a 7-3. Has streaks to work with. What a resurgence from this team.
Yeah, I love that play. It's just realizing that he's so close. He gets info on Journey. He goes for this challenge and then gets it with his life. Challenges Journey again and finds him and takes him down and then slips away with his life. Just Beans doing it all, man. Like I said before going in, like he has shocked me the most in this best of 5. A player that I was highlighting coming in towards this roster for 67k has absolutely blown away my expectations on him. He has really shown up here for us, and that is also 4 rounds in a row. You have an artillery to work with, and if you find one more kill, you're going to have a cruise missile. Everything is just looking great right now if you're 67k, and if you're Los Galacticos here, Brody, you're looking to find a response round. You had a hot 3-0 start. Now you're looking to bounce back.
This is just crazy. This is a crazy search and destroy here. Remember, folks, there's so much stakes on the line here. 67k, looking at stave off relegation with this match win. Los Galacticos, I mean, they're not looking too toasty, to be fair, in their standings at the moment. They're 4-1, but they would like this win to effectively solidify playoffs. Saiyan, gonna kick off with that first blood. Los Galacticos, though, coming with the trade. That's gonna be Journey. Still have their heart set on a B push. Journey taking down that trophy system is going to let 67k know that Journey is here. But Journey runs them off the bomb site. 67k now in a 2 versus 3. Looking to put a stop to this, but they won't.
All the streaks used here. I think this is interesting by Beans. He's going to come over the wall right to him. Finds the kill. And, well, they get information on the last 2 as well. It's just about playing and isolating Lucky inside the garage. Lucky looking to turn and burn. Won't happen. Niall picks up the kill. Invidian, who was spotted across the map, has to get to this bomb. And I don't think he gets here in time. The shots come through. 67k stick to the fuse. And they have taken 5 rounds in a row, Brody.
This is insane. This is just insane, Austin. This shouldn't happen. This should not happen. Los Galacticos, they have been broken down here. And what a 2 versus 3 that is for a 67k. A very frustrating one for Los Galacticos. What on earth is happening? 67k. I mean, they used the streak. You and I, we were kind of questioning it. But, hey, that was so smartly played from 67k. I've got to say that play as well from Beans here. It's a small one. He comes out with a Milano straight off spawn just so he can get up the map quicker and then switch to his Krig 6. And it works out perfectly as 67k now on the offense, looking to close out this game, Austin.
8 in a row for Beans. The cruise missile, when do you look to use it? And look where everyone's playing. Everyone's close to cover, so they know. They know that cruise missile is lying in the weights. And you don't even necessarily have to use it here. You're still up by quite a bit. So I would love to see them still kind of look at using this round as almost a bit of a sample and not looking to try and use that streak just yet. Figure out the information, and if it calls for it, then look to use it if you can get this bomb down potentially. But right now, everything just comes to a bit of a pause, and it's Saiyan in the middle of the map, who's just been notorious